What's
What's
up?
going on, everybody?
What's up, everybody?
We got all. Yeah, he's fashionably late as usual.
That's what I do. Hilarious. I was just saying how I'm always late, and now here we are. What's up, chat? There's a lot of people in the chat. Howdy.
I'm hearing the video. I was like, "What in the world?" Didn't have it muted. Sorry.
Oh, I did that last night. Such a rookie mistake. What's up, Black Mamba and Stephen Miller? What's up, Kelly? A while since I've seen your name.
Mr. Cage.
Yeah, Engage. Lisa and Black Mamba and Batman was here. You still here, Batman? Stephen Miller and
I
Joe.
was gonna say silence. Batman, you hear it?
And Bear. And Charles was still up. Rob Z was here.
Well, 45 minutes ago was the official start time.
Yeah, I didn't get out of work until a little late. Well, I guess
I know. I was like, I'm sitting here like, is he going to send an invite? Where's the invite? It's not coming.
Yeah, technically, I was like right on time. Like 5 minutes till I was walking into the office, like turning in my keys and my phone and stuff. And then that chick started talking to me, and I was like, oh, gotta listen. What's up, Paula?
Hi, Paula. Hi, Rob.
What's up,
Rob?
Paula?
Where you at? This is not normal. That's what we were talking about before we went live. Man, it was actually, I think, the last week in August, maybe, was the last time I was on.
Yeah, it was I think the first week of September was the last time I was on, except for yesterday.
So it may have actually been earlier than that. It may have been like that second or third week. Because I knew we went on vacation and I came on like a week. It was just a week or two before we left.
Oh, Kelly, it wasn't empty without me. I'm sure everybody. I'm just me.
There he is.
Howdy, howdy.
What's up, Rob?
What you see is what you get. Anyway, I missed the last part of what you were saying after you had to talk to her for a while. Just after that.
Nah, that was it. I think.
Oh, you had to talk to the chick at work for a while.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to, right?
Well, yeah.
She was a manager, so I had
to. It's those subtle brown nosing moments.
I'm good at that.
Charles is still up. Charles, I thought you were going to bed.
Well, he normally likes to go to bed about this time, so with his new job and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he wouldn't mind getting on for a little bit if he would send an invite.
I did. And Blumberg said he wants to hop on, but I don't even see him in the chat yet.
Hey, Steven. Hey,
he might be still asleep.
That's true, yeah.
Hey, Paula. Hey, Gage. Hey, everybody else that I can't see in the chat at the moment. So, Mr. Dave, how's your harvest going?
We just finished up. I'm gonna do a video probably.
Yes.
You gotta love the pepper condom.
Oh,
What's the other thing you got there?
My toy machete I got from Pepper Donkey.
Nice.
You know, it's hard work in the jungle.
Batman, I didn't take it all off. A blade will never ever touch my face as far as I'm concerned. I did trim down though, sorry. When you're outside working or even at work working and then you start getting this smell like a wet dog, it's time to take it off. Just saying.
I can't say as I've ever had that happen.
That's when I know it's too bushy and too long. It's time to trim.
I hate it when you get that hair on the top lip that actually hits your lip. It just bugs the living heck out of
I
me.
hate that too. Gotta hate that shit.
Yep.
And then I feel like everybody can notice. Because it feels like it's just hanging down like below your bottom lip and everything. And, ugh.
Or you know, like especially the stash. It's too long when you're like standing there and not even consciously like pulling hairs in your mouth, you know.
Yeah,
You don't do that, Charles? What?
I do all the above.
I keep it trimmed back so I don't get that kind of stuff.
I didn't trim mine all down because I got a problem with just playing with it like this. Like I'll be sitting at a red light, just sitting there playing with it, and I'll look at someone and they'll be looking at me like, "What the heck are you doing?"
I'm a lazy shaver. I do minimal work on shaving.
Yeah, I'm that way with my face, but I love having my head shaved. Like I wish I could get laser surgery and just get it all just taken off so I never have to shave my head again. It's like the opposite of most guys. Most guys are like trying to get a rug or like hair plugs or whatever. Not me. I want it all gone. I don't even want to bother shaving with it.
Well, I've said it before. As this keeps thinning, eventually I'm doing the same thing. It's just all going to come off.
It's the way to go. If you start losing it, just let it all go. No, don't do the. My uncle does the stupid comb over, and every time it's windy out, like we all have a good laugh. But
So, Rob, to answer your question, I did a video on it too, so it'll come out probably in a week. But I filmed it all yesterday. Did the last harvest this weekend, as far as I'm concerned. We still did, and we did 20 pounds, so wasn't bad for a last harvest on November 5th.
Yeah.
Or November 4th.
Whoa.
Especially after I made a post about it, especially after all them frosts, multiple nights of freezing temps. But obviously it only hit 32 for about an hour or so before it started warming back up, so it never stayed freezing long enough. And I answered the question I have been posing for months to people, because everybody runs and flips out when they know frost is coming. Oh, it's the end of the season. Oh, we're done. Got to get the plant pick and pick and pick. And I finally started posing the question, why? Frost, in theory, should not hurt the fruit, because it's not unless it hits freezing temperatures. Well, I proved that theory true. Plants look like crap, but all the peppers were still ripening. That's how we were able to get harvest the last couple weeks.
Yeah, last year the freeze or frost. I don't know. One of those two. I think it was a freeze. And the very next day, every single pod, whether it was ripe or not, was mushy.
Oh yeah, yeah. Once they freeze, they're done.
Yeah. I'm hoping to get through the whole month of November, at least.
I want to make it till January.
My
That's
thing
my
is I
goal.
just may need another freezer. That's the only thing with me. I've already got another one, but may need another one.
No way, Paula. You can have it. I
Oh,
dread those colds coming in.
oh, they're saying low of 26 Wednesday night here.
Yeesh.
But not the first freeze we've had this year, too. It'll be like the fourth.
Yeah.
So Wednesday night for you, it's supposed to be 26. So that means it's probably coming my way end of the week.
I think we're supposed to be. I mean, I know this isn't relative to y'all, but I think it's supposed to be 42 here, like later in the week. So that's looks like our coldest shot, like Friday or Saturday, like 41.
Is that at night?
Yeah, night, not in the day.
I was gonna say, man, wow.
No, no, 41, 42 at night. We don't. I mean, like I said, it's very rare. I mean, last year we had that snow in what was it, December or what have you. But I mean, it's very rare for us to get really into that freezing temps for a long spell. So I mean, most of the time, our cold is like cold rain, 54 for the high, 40 something for the lows or whatever it is, or 38 or 39. I mean, we very rarely get into the super, where we don't get really that low. I mean, 26 is like probably close to our record for us. I mean, that's the norm for Rob. But again, that's why I live in the south and he lives in the north. I don't deal with that crap. That's messing with my flip flop weather. So
Yeah, trying to experience a -30, -40 wind chill sometime.
yeah, I'm not gonna do it. I'll just take your word for it.
So Rob, that means if all of us are ever gonna meet up, it's not gonna be up there.
No.
There's no winter up here. Nope.
Unless it's in the summertime.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But yeah, definitely not in the wintertime.
If we do that in the middle of the summertime, we could get JT and Susie to drive down. If they can make it across the imaginary line.
No, they can. It's not that bad.
So there. So Dave, you gonna have enough in production to produce everything that you need to this year?
I think so. The mild blends are still going to be low, but the only thing I'm going to have to probably change is the old Agnes store that wants to carry us on their online store. I'm going to have to. They're going to get a little less of an order because I can't send 40 shakers of each one of those out there and only have like 30 for our. So, but the good news is Crimson Blaze, we've got about 12 pounds.
Is this one going to come back and stay?
Yes.
This
Okay,
one might
I'll
be-
tell you now. Reimagine will probably become a mainstay.
This one is a pretty. I mean, it's up there for my favorite. I'm just saying, it's out of the pack. That's probably one of my favorite ones.
Yep. It's probably my favorite one, period, out of everything I've done. I've been ripping through that stuff.
Big on the Twisted Sunrise.
Hey, Chad.
Mm-hmm. And the Twisted Sunrise in this 3-pack is where I actually want it. Like, it's actually the seasonings actually come through a little better in this one than the original version.
I just want to know where you stand because I want to know how fast to use it, so how long I would have to wait, or maybe ever have a chance to get it, because I don't want it to be gone and then I never can get it again. I want to kind of like do it in small increments to make sure I have some.
Well, and I've been threatened too, and I was told it better be in larger shakers instead of the 1 ouncers if we do add it.
Yeah. We were talking about that last night. The Decadent Mountain really goes good on desserts.
I've had a few people that told me, and I've tried it, and it is really good. Popcorn, microwave popcorn.
Okay.
Well, yeah. It's one of my
Yep.
favorite things to put any kind of powder on.
And it gives a sweet, and you with a touch of salt. And they said it's just a sweet, salty pot. They said it's the one lady, a lady locally actually was the first one that told me about it. She tried it, and I was like, I'm gonna try it. It's actually really, really good.
Well, that's good to know that it's going to stay around. So
Yeah.
I may start upping my usage a little bit more since I know I can get them maybe in a few weeks.
Well, you kind of do know the guy that makes it.
Yeah, but if the guy who makes it doesn't have any, you still can't get it.
I mean,
Well,
I don't want to start going and start begging to get out of his private stash. Is there any way you can go and get out of your private stash? Well, me and the family have to have some to get through the winter. We're in hibernation mode right now, and it lasts us a few months.
Well, I still have probably about 3 pounds of cayenne still there, so I can mix up a lot more.
Okay. That's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Chad?
Get freaky pepper powder dealers. And Rob, still hang on to that bag of Cheetos.
Yep.
I will. I will. With the back accident and trying to harvest and everything, I had every intention of sending out today, and I ended up having to go see the doctor. So,
How you feeling otherwise, as far as that goes?
it was he said, welcome to the older age. He said they did the x-rays and there was no fractures or breaks, which was a good thing because I wasn't even concerned about that. But I was like, with the pain that I went through that first 48 hours, I said something was seriously wrong. I'm like, my God. Well, it ended up being that it's a slight slip disc, maybe. I can't remember what he said. Donna said, I need to start going with you to the doctor.
that kind of stuff's important, actually.
Yeah.
Especially when you're dealing with your back, because all the decisions you make are really, really critical.
Well, he said something about the lumbar spine, and he said there was a slip, but he said it was so minor that they wouldn't even, he said there's nothing to even think about doing for it because they're showing how, he said, now think about somebody that has a full-blown slip. He said, think about that pain that you went through and then what somebody who ends up having a full-blown slip deals with. And I'm like, no, I couldn't imagine.
Oh, yeah, because, my friends, they had, one of them had, fusion, all that other stuff, and titanium rods and everything else, and it's bad.
That was pure hell. I've never experienced pain like that in my whole freaking life.
I can get you. Like I said, just hell, I'm getting older too. I'm just working 12-hour days and such, and then, trying to go and pick all these damn peppers, and that'll kill you. Standing around. That's what I said the other day. I was like, look, I'm done. I picked like 15, 16 plants, and I'm like, this is all I'm picking today. And I'll just go and do it another day when I'm off. They're not going to go anywhere, and I'll just kind of pick up where I left off. Because I got another, I still have a lot. So there's quite a few still on those plants. Some of them aren't looking so good. They're still bugs, aphids, all the soft plants, like all the Italian long hots, all that stuff. Those leaf-footed bugs just destroyed those things. So for me, those I'm not even worried about. There's some aphids here and there through some of those King Star, Lemon Starburst, and what have you. But like I said, it's so late. I'm not really worried about it. Just trying to get through this year and then change it up next year. But once I cut the garden down, I'm not thinking about anything until after January, at least at minimum.
Yeah.
So I'm not even worried about it. So I'll just go along for the ride for all the other PLC members who are starting their seeds and everything now because there's no need to, and I'm just not into. I'm not doing that this year. Like I said, I saw your grow how you did, and I was like going, "What the hell, man? Look at those little bitty things he's putting out there." And they're like, something that you started like, and it's like a week old. But it's true. I mean, like I said, I did that for most of my plants. If you look at beginnings of my garden this year, they're only 5 to 6 inches. They're all kind of lanky and bent over because they're in that canopy hold in that big, grow tent jungle. But they do just fine. Once they get a lot of the sunlight going, they get a good rain on them, then it's just like, they're gone. Then it's just like see how big they're going to get in so many weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not into starting them so early and trying to tend to all that.
Yeah, the smallest ones I put out this year were the ahi pineapple and the Kangstar white Thai, and I think the biggest one was about that big, but most of them were about that big. They're the biggest plants I have right now.
Right.
They just took off. Like you said, as soon as the sun hit them, they just exploded with growth.
Yeah. Like I said, a couple good rains. It depends on how your system, or if they're in pots or ground, or like yours are. I still thinking the totes, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it depends, but if you get a good rain on them, man, that when they get that, good soaking from Mother Nature, they just go crazy. So that's when they really take off.
Mine are still in totes and still in the original red cups.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna do most of mine just starting out in the solo cup, and then just get them down to the root system, get them to about that 5, 6, 7 inch height or what have you, and then take them out. Of course, now next year is not going to be as many plants for me. I'm definitely cutting down at least 80 to 100.
He says no.
No. I'm pretty. I did place orders already for seeds, but that's besides the point. I've only ordered 43 varieties, so I'm doing good so far this year for the next season, but we'll be all right. I just got to get as many bonnets as I can. So that's what I'm searching for, different bonnet types, and kind of just looking at different phenos and what have you. And some of the things, honestly, I'm questioning some of them in my garden, since I don't know if I want to actually go with the seeds for them, because there's a high chance of some of them being crossed.
Mm-hmm.
Not
say
mine.
90+%. I mean, the ones I'm confident on are, I know the lemon starburst because they're in a bunch of 8, so they're pretty close to the same ones. Other than that, yeah, they're just pretty crazy. Yeah, we'll see how things go. Like, so I'm gonna go bigger pots this year and go from there.
Derek's in the house, and
Big Derek.
Freaky says, I hope to grow more than nothing next year.
Well, that's always a plus.
Hey, that's easy to do. All you got to do is get one going.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like the oddball out because of my starts that I've already started. And we started the seedlings for the lemon starburst last Thursday. So,
Oh yeah, I should start some of those myself.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really productive plant. I mean, I picked, like I said the other day, I picked 93, and that was just, I think, 2 plants. When I posted that harvest the other day, I don't know if you saw that, but there's like 93 starbursts. So that's just a couple plants.
Those ahi mangoes, Dave, those things are freaking nuts, man. They look like pea pods just all hanging down everywhere off of that plant.
Yeah, mine fell over. Mine just totally just collapsed over.
That's what mine did. They just went boop. I didn't stake them, and they just said, "Well, we're going over."
Yeah, I messed up. I messed up a lot on the staking because I just got too lazy. Like somewhere along the line. Well, I know what part of the line. I ran out of stakes, and I said I'm not buying anymore. I said screw it. Hopefully they'll be all right. But of course,
Yeah.
They proved you wrong.
well, my Carboneros did. Both the pink and the regular Carboneros, and then the ahi mangoes, both the long and the chubby, both did the bow over.
Mm-hmm.
Those ahi mangoes are awesome, man. I love those. I've been
Yeah,
eating
it's
every
a
single one that gets ripe. I eat that sucker immediately.
yeah. It's a very good tasting pepper.
Yep.
I mean, either pheno. I mean, either one you have the long or the chubby. But I mean, something about that little chubby one, I still like. For some reason, I don't know what it is, but I like that one a little bit better. I mean, that's just my personal preference, I guess. But they're both of them are. It tastes really good, and like I said, I mean, they really make, you know, when I make like salsa and stuff for people at work and what have you, or doing, like I did the fundraisers. People always like, what? Why the hell does your salsa taste so different? It's the peppers. You start doing those ahis, you start doing all those fruit tasting peppers in there. You get a lot of good flavors going in them, and it just makes that salsa or whatever you're doing just, taste phenomenal because it's all those peppers you got in there.
Mm-hmm.
The ones you choose, of course, you can blast them with doing 15 varieties of super hots. Of course, most people won't taste anything. Like today at work, I have someone from Jamaica who works with me, so I keep bringing her Scotch bonnets because she like looking at home and stuff. She's just going crazy every time I bring all these bonnets and stuff. And I brought some. I brought her some other ones because she wanted some scorpions and what have you because she said she wanted some little things hotter for her pickle, peppers that she's making for her fish and chicken or whatever it is. So I brought a bunch of other things up, and this guy came when we're at the break room or what have you, and he's like he's like, look at this yellow one. I'm like, yeah, let me look at hold on, what is that? He's like, here, is this a good tasting pepper? I'm like, hold on, don't eat it. It's a freaking yellow brain strain.
You should have let him eat it.
He did. And then he went to the trash can and spit half of it out because he took a half a bite of a yellow brain strain. Oh my God. I was like, he's like, all right, because it was like at the end of his shift or whatever. And I was like, okay. And he flew out of there. He's like, dude, you're evil. I'm like, dude, I told you I wasn't sure. I had to look at it quick, but you ate it before I could tell you what it was. So I don't think he's going to eat any more of those yellow pods.
When I was working at that pizza shop, I had all kind of people. I would make some wings, but I would take all the meat off the bones and then just douse them with that Allegheny City Farms hot sauce. And almost everybody's like, what the heck? What did you do to these? And like, they just wouldn't eat them. They're like, it's way too hot. Except just like you said, it was this Jamaican girl that worked with me. I was like, you want to try some chicken? I got to warn you. Everybody says it's hot. She's like, oh, let me try. She just ate all of it. Like right there on the spot. I was like, what the? I meant try, not eat all my chicken. I had to go make more.
Oh, yeah. Except, I mean, we kind of bought like a pizza today for, a bunch of us chipped in. And it was just funny that she has her slices of pizza. And she just like, just the smell and the taste. And she just had those Scotch bonnets. And she was just like rubbing it all over the pizza and like doing it like a lime or a lemon, like squirting it just like this and just going some more and then chopping up some of the pepper, eating it, and then just like rubbing all over. Oh, the taste is so good on these things. I'm like, I know. Those bonnets I love, but she just goes to town on that. So she said, she's going to bring some kind of Jamaican dish for me up at work or whatever one day so I could try it. I was like, let's go for it. It sounds good to me.
Yeah. I ate something in Jamaica when I was there. I can't remember what the heck I had, but it was awesome.
Authentic jerk chicken is really good.
Right.
Especially if it's made right.
Yeah, I may make an attempt at that. See if I can make some.
That and what is it? Curry chicken?
Oh yeah,
chicken
she talks
curry?
about that all the time.
I gotta try that stuff. I've never had it.
Yeah, she talks about that. She said that to me twice, because I guess for the the employee Thanksgiving meal or whatever, it's like at night on a Sunday, like really after we close or whatever or something. And she's like, "Oh, I could make some curry chicken." She talks about that all the time. So I'm like, "I'll go for it. I want you to bring it because I want to try it." Because you mentioned to me like at least a half a dozen times. So I'm like, I'm game for it. So let's. I never tried it, so I'll try it. See how it is. But yeah, I think that's cool. I mean, I like that because I mean, like I said, it just like that's the cool thing about those peppers. People don't see them regularly in the grocery stores, and like for her or what have you, probably same thing as your coworker. Just like, oh my gosh, it's like home, and they're like they see the peppers that they had at home, and it's like just like their just eyes just bulge out, like, oh yes, finally I get to eat the kind of peppers and stuff I was used to.
Yeah, that girl came back to me like the very next day and was like, "Can you make me some more of that chicken?" I'm like, that's not something that we make here. That's just, I bring my own bottle of hot sauce with me." And
Yeah.
I had to say that because otherwise she'd be asking me every day to make that stuff for her. Like I said, I went heavy on the Allegheny City farm.
Was it the Harvest Edition or just the regular one?
Just the regular. I wish I had the Harvest at the time because I would have put that stuff on there for her.
Yeah.
Oh dear God.
Paula reminded me the ají jabito. I've been eating the heck out of that. I get so disappointed when I go outside to check on my peppers and there's none ripe.
Yeah.
Come on.
I still like hers. That cross of hers. I just still think it looks like a tooth on the bottom of it. It just looks
that thing was freaking amazing.
Yeah. So I may try to hit up Paula. You have any seeds from that? I'll get it across.
Yeah, that thing was really, really good. Yes, Paula, definitely grow the ají mango.
Yes.
Add it to the mix. You'll love it.
I like it better than most of the ahis that I've had. I might switch Sugar Rush and just go for the mangoes because, they ripen a lot quicker.
Yeah.
I put Sugar Rush on there. They've been on there for like 2 months. I swear. It might be 3 months.
Yeah, the Sugar Rushes, man, wow. They just, especially this year, it just seems like they took forever and, I mean, worse than usual.
Yep.
Well, what sucks for me is that I only grew. I forgot to. Well, at first I was relying on that when I was gonna overwinter the last year's. I thought I was gonna make it. Well, it didn't. So I didn't plant any Sugar Rush peach seeds. So I'm like, okay. But I did do the Sugar Rush Red. But like I was talking to Dave earlier, all my damn Sugar Rush Red, the whole season was just Blossom End Rot.
Yep.
I mean, every damn one of them. Except I got like maybe a couple. But I mean, it's just like, you just wait for this thing. You're like, you're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And then it just screwed up at the end. And you're like, damn, I waited for nothing.
Yeah, it's like a joke to me. Every time I go out, I'm like, might as well look at the Sugar Rush. And I look at them like, still not ready. What the heck?
Yeah. I'm not, like I said, I don't know. I don't know if I'm up to the patience of doing those. They're fantastic as far as taste. But it just takes so damn long. But,
unfortunately, I have to grow them. I mean, not unfortunately, but I kind of have to grow them.
Yeah, I'll probably grow them. That'll probably be one of them in the mix next year.
Well, as far as I know, there's no growers out there that grow them on a large scale, and I'm like, yeah.
Well, you know why?
Yeah.
Because they drive them.
They take forever.
It's like Burt Reynolds and Jerry Reed going to that town. It's like, what do you think they do here? It's like I would sit around and watch the cars rust. That's like how looking at a Sugar Rush peach plant. It's like blend for some rust. It takes forever.
I will say the cream definitely goes faster. They're not much faster, but they are definitely faster than the peach. They ripen a lot. They ripen quicker. The reds, I don't know. The reds, I don't know what's going on, but it seems like a lot of people are having the same problems with them. They're very prone to blossom end rot, and a lot of people weren't seeing them ripen this year. They were getting the stripes, and everybody thinks it's a new it's a change or something. And I'm like, no, it's just the pigment. They're not ripening for some reason. That's what's happening. Some of them won't even turn at all. They just turn like a peachish color and then stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I have no clue.
Some of my Sugar Rush kind of turned like a yellowish color. Some of them turned like not a peach, but I don't want to say a cream, but I don't know, like a very, very light orange. Like not orange, but like just very, like a beginning shade of orange, and then just stopped.
Is that your peach or?
Yeah, the peach.
Huh.
Yeah, I picked a pile of them that I ended up just throwing away because I thought, maybe it'll ripen on the counter, or maybe it'll like darken up on the counter or something, and nope, just went soft in a couple days.
They're actually not bad flavor-wise still at that stage. I've tried a few that weren't completely ripe, and I'm like, well, they're actually not bad still.
Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely want to do a comparison. I was like, last year when I had a bunch, because, I had so many on that contest plan, and I was picking them at all stages just to see where they were at, just to see how they tasted. Because for one, some of them, I just couldn't take it. It's like, I got to try this. So the first one definitely wasn't right.
Yeah.
It's just like, just how most people do when they first try a Sugar Rush peach, and they're like, is it ready? Is it ready? Is it ready? And you just lose it. You lose your patience. And, I just lost it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look, it's hand.
It's kind of like.
It's a floating pepper.
Lemon drop time. What's up?
One thing I'm getting really good at is keeping my ahi pineapple separated from the ahi lemon, because they both look almost identical.
Yep.
But I keep the mangoes with the ahi pineapple, and I keep my lemons with the ahi hobito. That way I can't confuse them.
Derek got Derek, they look fruity.
Oh, Derek, you got pods? You want to come on here and try one?
Mm-hmm.
They're from Batman. I'm sure they're not hot.
Yeah. Nah, not at all. They're just sweet peppers.
Like that sweet pepper Brando ate last night.
Yeah, he ate a couple of them.
What was that first one he did? What, that chocolate
CPR?
Oh, yeah, that or chocolate maruga.
Or some chocolate maruga, CPR. I don't know what. He just, like I said, it just was munching down on him like it's nothing.
That was a hot lemon drop. That was like on par with that one I ate that night with you, Charles. That was a hot one.
That thing was freaking hot. That one we had. The one I tried last night. That's like I never had that yellow bumpy, but that thing definitely lit my tongue up. I mean, it felt like something was searing the tip of my tongue. And then that same thing with that little yellow submarine. Those are hot little habaneros. I mean, they're in the 130, 140,000 range, but those little boogers are hot. So I got both of those from Sea Spring Seeds, and both of them, man, they got a pretty good amount of heat for a little bitty pod.
But yeah, what's up, Charles? What's up, Dave? What's up, Rev? What's up, Rob? Hey, everybody in the chat.
I know I don't work till a little bit later tomorrow, so I'm trying to stay up because I got to at least make it to 10:30 because I'm not getting out of there tomorrow till 10:30. So
I didn't expect to see you, and I just pulled up the video right before I hopped on. So
I didn't expect to see me. I didn't know what the hell was going on.
I was like, all right, totally Charles is there. I'm definitely.
I thought I was just I was just like seeing this imaginary finger or something. Like, I guess we're never going to be on the shows again. I guess it's solo. I don't know what the hell the deal. So I was texting Rob. I'm like, Rob, what's going on? He's like, dude, I don't know. I've been sitting here twiddling my thumbs for an hour and a half. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I kind of gave up on it a little while ago.
I turned on the computer. I turned on the computer and started playing building blocks. Then I went and opened the drawer and did my my 4-sided Rubik's Cube real quick. That's how bored I was, waiting for this damn thing to actually go live.
Dave, you've grown both the lemons and the pineapples for a long time. Have you noticed the? And I'm just asking because it was a discussion I believe yesterday, about how, like, earlier in the season, I've noticed the lemon drops and the pineapples both are a lot sweeter and have a nicer flavor. And then they get more of that, what a lot of people describe as that soapy flavor towards the end of the season. Have you noticed that on your plants? Or
I've noticed it's
a trait of them, or
they seem to here. What happens early on for you happens here, but in the heat of the summer is when that soapy is from what I'm noticing is that you get more of that through the heat of the summer. But like right now, if you're lucky enough to still have them going in this cooler weather, they get sweeter again.
Huh.
Hey, Batman.
Now they lose their heat though. I noticed their heat doesn't seem to be as potent, but we've also had a ton of rain too.
yeah, the hotter ones, like that one that I just had, it was really hot, like for a lemon drop. And it had a little bit of soapy flavor. It was almost in between. It like wanted to go into that flavor, but it also had sweetness. Some of the earlier in the season pods though that I was getting didn't have the soapiness, but they weren't as hot. And
See you,
then,
Batman.
yeah, it's just been kind of back and forth. I'm waiting to see. I've got some that I'm going to pull off that should be more of the cooler weather pods. But we kind of went from like hot to cold. We've had like a weird season as always.
Yeah. I think we have a lot of the similar type seasons.
Yeah, I'm in Mill, Tennessee, and I mean, it fluctuates drastically always. And I was telling Charles the other day, like, I remember a year or two ago, it was in the 70s one day, and then the next morning I woke up, it was in the 20s, there was snow on the ground, and then the next day it was like back into the 70s. Like that's Tennessee. You have to keep like shorts, flip-flops, like winter jackets, pants, boots, like everything accessible like year round. You can't ever.
That's why your fishing tackle box weighs 45 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, literally, that is why my backpack weighs so much, because the fluctuating weather. I don't ever know what the fish are going to do, because the fish don't ever know what they're going to do. Like with the temperatures going up and down and stuff, the behaviors that they would normally fall into for seasons don't really apply. Sometimes in the middle of the winter, you'll have fish that are behaving like it's summer because it's so warm. But sometimes in like the middle of the fall, you'll have fish that are like on full winter pattern. And it's just ever changing. It's just like, I've seen so many different memes for so many different states that kind of have similar weather, and it's like, oh, you don't like the weather here? Give it 20 minutes. Like, that's how it is.
We have that here.
Yeah.
And in Minnesota, if you don't like the weather, wait a minute.
And then you realize you really don't like it because it's cold.
And then, like here, most of the year, you're just like waiting to see how high humidity and the temperatures are going to be. That's basically what I wait for, because it's usually so damn hot and humid. And like I said, that's why my plants are doing good now, because I mean, I haven't had that, 100 degrees and 94% humidity all the time. So they like this, 60, 80 or 50, 70 or whatever it might be. That's a hell of a lot better for them.
Oh, they're probably thriving now.
Well, yeah, some of them, like I said, some of them have issues, but they're doing all right. But like I said, I'm at the point now. I don't care. I've had enough almost. I'm just tired from work. I'm just tired from work, and I just don't feel like dealing with them right now.
I've had enough, and I'm tired of my plants. But at the same time, I don't want them to stop. And
Well, no, I don't want them to stop.
looking at the weather, like my season's ending this week. Like this is my last week, and it's going to be 29 Friday night, 31 Saturday night. Then there's another couple days early next week where it's going to be like in the low, like 31 area at night. So it's done here. My plants already lived through 2 frosts. I'm not going to expect them in their ragged state to go on any longer.
Yeah.
I'm just happy that I've pulled more off, and I picked a bunch today. I'll post a couple pics tomorrow probably in the PLC. I completely stripped one of my gardens and ripped up all the plants, and then I've still got one more other garden up the road, and then I've got my 2 gardens here and some container plants, and that's it. And then I'm done. I already took care of one of my other gardens about a week ago, so I've been slowly eliminating everything, and I was pretty pleased with how many of the pods that I picked from my garden across town that were green ripened over the course of like a week, just sitting on the counter inside on trays. I would say probably like 30-40% of them like ripened up just sitting on the counter. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, this time of year, that's the easiest way to do it because for the most part, you're not going to get a whole ton that are going to ripen fully because, first of all, we have lack of daylight hours. They still need those longer days to ripen fully. But if you pick them at least halfway or more, they're going to ripen within 24, 48 hours. They're going to finish up. Because when you're bringing them into the warmer house.
Yeah, and some of the ones that I picked that were fully green, though, like not a single bit of color, in a week's time went fully ripe. I was like astonished because I do it every year, but it seems like this year I've had better luck getting a higher number of those that were ripe. I guess it's because I had more plants and I was able to more selectively just pick the like bigger pods that were nice and firm that I thought had a good shot at ripening. And just mountain topping them all together kind of worked better too, because then you dig into the pile, and some of the ones that were like shadowed out where they were kind of like hidden from the light, those were the ones that ripened more, I thought. And I've also played around the past 2 years with either paper bag or cardboard box.
Does that work at all?
Yes, it works amazing. The cardboard box, I swear I'm sold on that one. That's because I've done paper bag. Paper bag works, but I swear the cardboard box works amazing. I took a bunch a couple days before the end of the contest for the Scotch Brains. I took a bunch of pods and I put them in a box, and some of them were like half ripe and stuff, and they ripened real quick in there. But even the ones like a couple days after the contest ended, all the ones that I'd picked that were fully mature, but they weren't at all showing color, those are completely ripe now. Like the entire box is just a box full of ripe pods.
Nice.
Which is pretty neat because it was a box of green pods before. That definitely works.
I'll go strip all them ahi plants and put them in a box because there's a crap of pods out there.
You might not ripen, but even if you get 30-40%, that's 30-40% of the peppers that would be gone to waste.
Yep.
Yeah, because I put them in these big Amazon boxes. I mean, they're pretty much right, but until I deal with them, you know, like this box, you know, that's one box, and I just until I deal with them, what I do, and then they ripen further. Just hope that they don't, you know, go too.
And even if they only ripen partially, you're still getting the flavor and the heat.
Oh
well,
yeah.
Like I said, I just put them in a box, and these were 100% I mean, no color, completely green pods. There goes a few of them. But I mean,
Nice.
they're all like nice, like ripened out with like the full color to them. Like great looking pods. And that was over, I don't know, maybe 4 days, 5 days. And it made them fully change. And then they've been in there for, I don't know. Wait, what is today? Today's the 5th. Yeah, so it's probably maybe almost exactly a week ago that I picked these, and they were fully green. Like, not even a spot of color on them. There are still a couple in there that have a little bit of green to them, but they're well on their way to being ripe.
I'm still trying to figure out what the hell this is. Because I bought this from Judy as a devil's horn. And this is not a damn devil's horn. They stayed yellow, and they stayed like this. I have no clue what the hell this is. It's got heat, but I have no clue what the hell this is. So, I don't know. But it produced well. I just don't have a clue what the hell it is. I put one of my boxes.
Well,
What's the
you want
flavor
to
like?
see you can find out that way.
What was it?
I said, E1 and see if you can find out that way what it is.
I've
Yeah,
already
there
ate.
you go.
I've already ate one. It's pretty hot. I just don't know what it is. I mean, it's got
Let me
like
go
a fruity taste.
Do this to my hat. I could match Charles.
It's got like a fruity taste. That's pretty close, dude. You got some kind of condom on your head too.
This
It's
is
got like a
actually-
fruit, like it's kind of a fruity flavor.
We're making, yeah, it's got a fruity flavor, and it's got pretty decent heat. But I wouldn't say nothing nowhere near most of the other devil's peppers, because I mean, I know I've had those. I know how hot those are.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not nowhere. They're not near as like a devil's heart or a devil's brains or anything like that. So I don't know. Like I said, it is what it is. It's too late now. But yeah, like I said, it's got medium to high heat, but it's not like super hot like the other devil peppers. So I don't know. Like I said, it produces well. But they all look the same like that.
On the ripening of the pepper issue, what I've been doing is setting them next to already ripe peppers. Like I'll pick them and they'll just have like a lemon drop and it'll just have a little tiny bit of yellow on the tip or something. I just set it on the counter right next to other ripe peppers and that sucker's completely yellow the next day.
It gets jealous of the ripe one.
I heard from somebody, well, I've heard the cardboard box, I've heard a paper bag, I've heard a paper bag with bananas, a paper bag with oranges or whatever. But I believe I heard somewhere that it is like there are gases that are let off when a fruit ripens, and that will make the other fruit ripen as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I have heard that, and I have tried that too. And I think that there is some truth to that. Like, if you have a bunch of unripe pods, if you put like a couple ripe ones with it, it will help them ripen. I don't know though, because I've been experimenting with it a lot of different ways, and I've taken, like I said, fully green pods in that cardboard box, and they ripen on their own without being any ripe ones in there. But I have noticed that too, like that does seem to work. I don't know. I think that from all the different ways that I've tried it, though, if I had to narrow it down to just two that I would say work the best, two that work the best that I would suggest to anybody that has a bunch of pods on their plants when it gets to be that dreaded time of the year and you want to try to get as many as you can, the two different ways that work the best are to cut the plants if you have the ability to do so. Not everybody has somewhere they can put them. But if you can cut the plants or at least cut like the loaded branches and hang them upside down somewhere that stays warm, that works amazing. But obviously, if you have a lot of plants and you don't really have the space to do that, then that's not as much of an option. But then the second best thing that I would say from my experience is to put them in a cardboard box and just close it off. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to or anything, just like close to where it keeps the light out.
I know this has nothing to do with peppers, but still the craziest thing I think is when you make guacamole and you put the seed of the avocado back in and nothing messes up. It's just crazy how that seed affects that guacamole.
Yup. And same with an avocado. It'll keep it from like browning up if you just leave the seed in there. It's so weird.
Anyway, that was my little sidetrack.
That was your rabbit trail.
I mean, that's a truthful thing. I was watching some like cooking show the other day, and this guy was making this guacamole, and he made like a big bowl of it, and he took like one of the seeds. He was like, "Yeah, if you put the seed back in there, it'll keep it from going bad." And he put it right in the center of the bowl of guacamole, and they saran wrapped the top, and he pressed the saran wrap down to where it was on top, so there was no airspace to use. Like, if you like fully saran wrap it to where there's very minimal air pocket in there, that helps it as well, like from the browning.
It's
The seed makes a difference.
Yeah.
Eric is in the house. Hey, Eric.
What's up?
Eric.
What's up, Eric?
Yeah, I wonder if that's a fruit thing. Because everything we're talking about is a fruit. Bananas, apples, peppers.
The other one that I always hear is a tomato. Put it in the bag with a tomato.
You know what does not help an avocado if it's not ripe? Do not microwave it.
Yeah, that doesn't.
It does not help. You get a hot avocado that's not ripe. I was on a big avocado kick for a while there at the beginning of the summer. I was eating them every day. But I finally got into like the swing of things. You buy them with my grocery store. You buy them like 2 days before you're going to eat them because they come like hard as a brick. And you just set them on your counter and let them go ahead and ripen up for a couple days, and then they'll be good to eat. But that sucks when you're making dinner and you're like, wait, this avocado is hard as heck, man. How do I get this thing ripe like immediately? Can't. Well, nothing I tried anyway.
It's been a long time since I ate an avocado, so I couldn't help you there.
I
Been a couple days. It's been a couple days for me.
I think I have one on the counter right now, actually. Sweet.
Ethylene emits from ripened fruit, so it's basically the trigger to ripen. Ah. Oh, thank you, will be very hot.
Jeez, good info.
I was thinking it was
What's up, Will?
the carbon dioxide end of things. But that's what I know.
It was some kind of gas. I guess it's ethylene. That I heard, anyway. I mean, I also hear lots of things.
Any old gas won't work.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, speaking of gas, like I actually have a quarter tank in my truck. Whew, man, it's so much cooler than having nothing. I'm so used. I know how much gas I can actually have. Have you ever had like when your needle gets below E? Like I've had that a lot of times, but I know how far I can get that needle beyond E before I actually like am getting close to running out.
And like my car, I think I looked it up. It's like 2.1 gallons.
Oh, I had it down where like the little needle and the gas gauge actually goes down and rests on the needle. If I put $5 worth of gas, which is 1.7 gallons in there, it does not come off that little needle. He's on there.
My buddy Chris though does that. Like he lets his get down like below E, and he knows exactly like how much area he has. But like he always carries around a freaking gas can in the back of his truck, and like 9 out of 10 times that he comes over to my house, he'll be like getting ready to leave my house and be like pulling out his gas can and like pouring a little gas in his truck. I'm like, dude, what the hell?
Well, I mean, if you're gonna do
He
that
lives
around,
like less than a mile away from me too, which
you
is the
better
funny part. But like literally, he carries the gas can with him and just tops it off a little at a time.
you should be staying locally in the communities if you're gonna mess around with that. Because if you try to get anything out of the community areas here, if you go on that crap, hell no, you're screwed. You may be on the side of the road because there's so much traffic. You're screwed pretty much. So there's no way
Yeah.
I would be driving anywhere around my area without at least minimum of half a tank, because it's just, you never know what they're going to do. It's just hell. I mean, I live next to the Devil's Corridor. That's what I call the freeway that I live next to, because it's hell. I mean, just literally hell. It's been hell for years. So one of these days they're going to get done with that. I think maybe by 2020, maybe only a year or so away from that, and then something else will come up.
What highway is that?
Oh, 290.
290.
But I mean, they widen I-10 to the widest freeway in America, and there's still traffic. Because you know why? Because there's bottlenecks on all the loop systems and the tollways. So if you don't fix the tollway entrances and the loop system to get in the entrances, there's a bottleneck, and you're screwed. So it doesn't matter how wide that freeway is, people are going to want to get off.
Yep.
You know, I don't know. They don't think all this stuff through, or maybe they have, and they just, there's no way around it. I don't know. There's just too many damn people.
I haven't been through Louisville in a long time, but Louisville, Kentucky is one of those places where they've got a big loop that goes around Louisville, and it seems like every single time my whole life that I've ever been through there, there's construction. And I mean, it's just congested as hell, and you can't get through. Like, you're sitting there for hours.
Just hell, just behind my neighborhood where they're making another portion of the lake, you know, front homes or whatever they're doing. It's just weird going on the side of the road and you see all these damn trees, like literally like stacked up, just like in massive, massive mounds. That all the damn trees they took down to make this new community. I mean, it's just so many damn trees in these big piles. I mean, how much it is. So it could be, and which is the craziest thing on these new homes. They tear down all the old trees and give you a little bitty tree. They give you a 2-foot oak tree in the front of the yard. And that's what you start with. I guess when you get your new home. And you have no other trees around here. There's like literally no other trees. And then, because they took them all down so they can go and you can give you a little bitty tree. And then go from there. But everybody around here wants a lake. So we got, you know, gajillion man-made lakes in all these communities. So that's everybody around me has a lake in their community, except me. But that's why my home isn't, you know, $450,000-$500,000 either. And that's another thing is I couldn't grow the peppers in that community anyway, because the HOA there would kick my ass. I mean, absolutely kick my ass if I had any kind of thing like I have in my home now in those communities.
You just need to go over there and go freaking Johnny Appleseed and start putting pepper seeds along the entire edge of every lake.
Dude, you know how long? No. You don't know how long they're huge. I mean, they go forever, and they're like.
What do you have? Like 30,000 lemon starburst seeds?
No, I don't have any, sir. I heard you were giving them out.
I'm giving them out, but you have them that you're hoarding for your Johnny Appleseed project.
What you're talking about? I heard you and a couple others were so nice to give seeds away. That's very nice of you.
Yep, I've got plenty.
Yeah, only had.
I haven't even been getting hit up by that many people. It's been like surprising. I thought that I was going to get bombarded.
No.
Well, Thursday we had 9 left that we put in the seed starter thing, and that was all I had.
Well, Jay was nice enough to give Jesse like 1,000. So Jesse, I guess, is part of the group in PLC with Rob and a couple other people, Will and a few others, who are distributing the seeds. Jeff Hobbs and he's going.
Yeah, it's Jeff, Jesse, Bill, and me are the ones that are dispersing them. And I mean, anybody out there that hadn't gotten them that needs any, then just contact me. And I've got a bunch already bagged up. I've got hundreds and hundreds more that I can like bag up if need be. But I've got like probably 20 little baggies up and bagged up already. So.
Cool. How many you putting in?
Like
5?
No, I'm putting like 8 in there, roughly.
Okay.
And the only reason I do that is because I know how the postal service is, and I expect that maybe not everyone is going to arrive in good shape. Even though I usually put a piece of bubble wrap with the seats taped to it, so that like improves the odds. But I mean, you never know what's going to happen during postage, and I'd rather send 8. Have them make it to somebody, maybe a few be broken, but then have some seeds versus sending 5 and then have most of them be crushed. They only get 1 seed. That one doesn't sprout or something, then I have to go through it again. It's easier that way. I've got enough seeds. I'm not worried about it. But the thing that I'm at is anybody, though, that is interested in it just needs to get in contact with me, and then I can set you up with an address, and you can send me a self-addressed stamped envelope, because I'm not just funding the world for this contest. I've got the seeds and I don't mind to share them. The little baggies, I'm not worried about that, but I'm not going to go broke out of pocket buying stamps and envelopes. And even more than that, I really don't want to have to write out that many people's addresses on envelopes. That's probably one of my least favorite tasks, is addressing envelopes. So
I have decent.
if anybody ever wants to, send me a self-addressed envelope with a stamp on it, and you'll get seats. So
I got decent handwriting when I want to, but I swear every time I try to send something out in the mail, the worst handwriting in the world comes out of my hand. I mean, it looks like a 2-year-old's trying to write an address.
Yeah.
I've got sloppy handwriting. I'm not ashamed of it. It's just how it's always been. I've tried. I mean, it's just how I write.
Well, I mean, for the contest, I'm going to say that everyone's safe for getting seeds, because between the people who already are on that list, and like I said, since Jay gave Jesse about 1,000 seeds, I think at least 200 people are going to get them. So I don't think I've never seen a contest where people actually. Well, maybe there's more people in the contest who just don't post anything, but I've never seen a contest where there's 200 people actually in it.
I was going to say, in any one of the particular contests this year, I wouldn't have guessed that there were any more than 30 people, 50 people max.
Well, I mean, like I said, a lot of people get. I mean, this is how I'm going to tell you how the contest goes too. So, like when people like Blumberg and everybody start posting all these damn big numbers, they say the hell with it. They're out. It's like, peace out. I'm not dealing with this contest. So you start going and like putting Dorset numbers like in the 50, 70, hundreds, and it's like a month or two into the damn thing or whatever. They're like, that's it for me. Pretty much done with this one. And then they just stop counting and doing things. I think
my Dorset Naga came right out of the gate, like throwing out tons of pods.
Yeah, I know. And it's
like,
because
then Jay won it by like 50.
That plant was loved for months before it went to the new owner.
And then it got destroyed. They used the
that wasn't my fault. That's the post office. That wasn't me.
I know, but they used the steamroller on it, and it was basically
worked out though. It worked out for you.
It did work out. It was a gorgeous plant.
It's like the little engine that could.
Yeah.
It kept on going.
That was the greatest recovery of any of the plants that I had this season. The second greatest recovery of any plant that I had was a mammoth jalapeno that was kind of same case, and it had been in a cup, and it was a nice size, like good size plant, and it got broke down to just like barely a nub sticking out of the soil. My buddy was going to toss it. I was like, nah, I'm going to plant it. Like, I know it looks like nothing. It didn't even have a leaf on it, like no leaf at all. and I planted it out of like 5 mammoth jalapeno or 6 mammoth jalapenos that I grew this year. That was the best plant. It was broke down to just the ground. I mean, it was a stub, and it shot out some little signs of new life. Ended up branching out like 8 different branches and got like a big, huge canopy on it. Produced like over 100 pods, which is a lot for a jalapeno like that.
How many pods per plant on that plant?
My mammoth jalapeno, it probably got over 100 pods this season.
Nice.
I mean, it
That's
was
about
crazy, and I grew a bunch of other ones that got like 50 max, but this one, and it may not have been over 100, but it was in the ballpark of 100. It was a lot because I kept picking them, and they kept coming in, and I kept picking them, and they kept coming in. And then when I finally did like a final harvest on that plant, it was like a big, big bag full of just mammoth jalapenos from that one plant.
I have to hire you to grow jalapenos for me.
I have terrible luck with them though. Like I said, all the plants that didn't get broken didn't do very good, and I didn't get a whole lot off them. But then that one that was considered the most garbage plant of anything I grew this season turned out to be like one of the best plants. That just goes to show you that you can't give up on something because it doesn't look like it's going to succeed. I mean, if you put a little like faith behind it, it can do amazing stuff. And
You got to motivate it, Rob. You got to be a motivational speaker to your plant.
I guess.
You got to really talk to him. And like Dave says, you got to listen. You got to read your. When that little sucker starts talking to you, and you see signs, and he starts drooping, or he starts changing colors or whatever, you got to figure out what he's telling you. Right, Dave?
Amen. Preach it, brother. Preach it.
Right when you said motivational speaker, all I kept thinking about was Matt Foley living in a van down by the river.
Oh, all right, get the blowtorch.
What's up, Adam?
The jalapeno that I'm going to baby next year and see how big I can get one is that New Mex lemon spice jalapeno, because I grew those this year and my plants did horrible, awful. Basically almost died from, I think, a combination of mites and it was mites and leaf spot. And I was battling both of those, and I could never really like get a good like lead on it. It would go away and then it would come back, and it would go away and it would come back. And towards the end of the season, one of the plants decided it was going to live, where the other two basically ended up leafless sticks. Never got over like 8-10 inches tall. The other one got to about 12 inches tall, and it leafed out, and it probably produced like 15-20 peppers for just like a little small bush. It was pretty pleasing to see, and I could see by the way that one flowered and the way that it set pods that that's going to be a good one to grow. If it was cared for, it could be a big plant probably and produce a lot of peppers. And whereas a lot of the jalapenos that ripen to red take a very, very, very long time to ripen to red, these only take a very long time to ripen to yellow. So it's like 3 stages less time. It's a win-win. It's like probably a third of the time of a Sugar Rush peach. So you only have to plant them like 3 years ahead of when you want ripe pods, and then you get ripe pods. But I mean, that's a plus. Nobody has a decade for a Sugar Rush peach.
See, I love the Sugar Rushes, and but
I do too.
With the Nate's Rush blend, I have to grow them. But to the Sugar Rush peach, a very similar alternative would be the Ahi Crystal, in my opinion. Flavor-wise, it's close to it. Heat-wise, it's about the same, but the Ahi Crystal is definitely and it doesn't take nowhere near as long as the Sugar Rush does. And they're actually better in the pre-ripe stage. I think I actually did a video on that one last year or the year before.
You did, and I watched that video, and I was so compelled by that video that I wanted to grow those. And I bought a pack. I can't remember exactly where. I think I might remember where I got them. But I bought a pack of seeds last fall. None of the seeds came up. I had one seed that started to come up, and it just like died. And I've got good germination ratio with like all the stuff I plant. Like I usually get like in the high 90s if they're good.
Yeah.
And I bought a pack of seeds, and like out of like 10 plus seeds, none of them made it to a plant. So I didn't get to try that one this season. But
I'll get you some. See if they do better for you.
Yeah, I've got the same thing with.
That was one of the varieties that I definitely wanted to grow, and I remember specifically watching your video on it. And that was one of the videos that like made me decide that was like in my grow list.
Yeah, it is it's an awesome variety. I mean, it just, and I highly recommend it. And that was coming from Neil Smith. He was the one that told me that pre-ripe stage is the best. And I tried them both. I tried them ripe and I tried them in the pre-ripe, and he was right. They are the flavor is popping much better in that pre-ripe stage. Just when it's like it's showing color and it's, you know, you got that like it's starting to show color, then you got that mid. You have to watch them grow to see it, but then it goes to like a full-blown red, and it's that stage. Those two stages right there. I picked them like that all summer, or all fall harvest when they started coming in.
I bet
was
they would
actually
be
disappointed to see them go red.
They'd probably be really good ones for pickling, from like what I remember from your video.
Yeah.
And, like,
Adam, the sugar rushes take a very long time to ripen.
Especially the peach.
Yeah, the peach specifically.
It's probably the longest pepper that you'll ever have trying to ripe.
But they're thick like jalapenos. I would say it's about like waiting on a jalapeno to turn red.
Yeah.
Because jalapenos take forever to turn red.
Yeah, because it is a very thick-walled variety.
And Sugar Rush Peach pickle well. Like you can cut rings of them like a jalapeno and pickle them, and they turn out really awesome. I've got a bunch that I had to pick today from. It was a beautiful plant. It was so beautiful and so loaded that it was just laying on its side on the ground. Not broken, but it just couldn't hold itself up anymore. And I picked probably over 100 pods that are like good sized ones, but not a single one of them is peach. So I think I might take all those and like just pickle them, just like slice them in rings and make some jars of like pickled Sugar Rush Peach.
That would.
Or I guess they'll be Sugar Rush White for this batch. They're like right at that white stage. But they're all like big, like 4-inch plus pods, like big ones.
Nice.
Just no color.
There's one bag.
Jeez.
That looks like popcorn. Literally, like when you held it up, it looks like popcorn.
That's what I was gonna say. It looked like popcorn or like granola or something.
Yeah, clusters.
Huh. Mine didn't do very well. I think I could probably say I picked about 8 pods. That's it off of that, but it got shaded out. I lost track of it and happened to come upon it one day and was like, well, that's not going to produce much of anything.
And like this is what I picked yesterday. It's like 93 of them. So I had the DC3s. I think there's like usually about 30 to 40, 50 seeds in each one usually. And you have the cluster or whatever.
Yeah, they're fairly seedy. I grew 3 plants in a cluster in my front strip right along my sidewalk, and those plants didn't do so good. They were a little bit late starts. They still got to maturity and produced 2 different waves of pods, but they were not many, just a handful off each plant. But then I grew one in like probably a 12 or 15 gallon container in like the good river dirt, like I did the 2 contest plants. That thing got massive. It got probably almost 4 foot tall, about 4 foot wide, and produce tons and tons of pods.
Mm.
And
Well, then-
if I'd started that one a little bit earlier and cared for it the way that I did, like the Scotch Brain and the Dorset Naga, a little bit bigger container, that thing, I think I'm gonna, for the contest, I'm gonna grow it in the trash can that I grew that Scotch Brain in this season. I'm just gonna see how big I can get that lemon starburst. I'm gonna like super dose that soil with some goodness. I'll get like all organic. I'm not going to go with any fertilizers or anything. Like I mean, I am going to fertilize it, but it's all going to be like organic stuff. I'm not going with anything that you can go purchase at a store. I'm just going to like do it as natural as I can and see how big of a plant I can get it.
And then Dave,
I did this year and it worked.
I got it now.
Nice.
So I don't know if it's like, am I coming up on the camera or no?
Yeah, you're up.
So see now I got it. So it's the right. So I got it. Same taste, but it's not like jam in a bottle.
I put mine in the fridge, and I wish I would have never done it. It is solid.
Oh well, yeah. It's yeah. That first batch was not so. That was my test batch. So you, Peter, and King got my test batch of that one.
What I would do, just a suggestion, is I would like take it and take the flow restrictor off, which I'm sure you've probably done that.
That's trash.
Do whatever you can.
I didn't put them on.
Just shake that stuff like into a jar. Like use like a chopstick to like provoke it to like come out the neck of it and just like get every bit of that.
I've stuffed up in it, and it literally, you could stick a chopstick up in there or whatever, and it's just gonna hang there. That's how thick it got in the fridge.
I screwed. I mean, like I said, that was my test batch. I mean, I had no idea because, you know, I'm not going to tell everything I put in it, but it just, when I put that other ingredient that I showed you I made before the sauce, the actual thing I put in it, it just set up too much. So, and then I promise you I didn't put that much vinegar in it. You know, since my Strabanero is vinegary. I don't know what's going on. It's really vinegar.
Don't make me feel bad. Matt actually looked at me afterwards. He was like, "Man, you really are tough on your friends." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "The whole vinegar." And I'm like, "What?" He said, "You wouldn't shut up about the vinegar." I'm like, "Oh my God, I swear to God, I hope it doesn't come across that I'm saying the sauce is vinegar." It's so like vinegar forward.
I took it.
Charles mentioned.
I thought that shit
I watched that and I was like, damn, like Dave was just like ripping on it. I haven't tried that sauce, so I can't say either. It is
freaking awesome. But my whole point was like on ice cream.
I was like, Charles, normally you don't make vinegar forward sauces.
I know. I was like, oh crap. I was like, so I'm trying to text with Charles to explain, like, hey, I wasn't not getting the sauce.
No, that's the way I took it. I was like, damn, man. I was like, he must be tasting something that I didn't, because I know how much vinegar I put in there, and there's not vinegar in it. It's enough to do his job, and that's it.
So Charles, I feel like you were thrown under the bus.
No, I want an honest review on my sauce. So I think it was honest up to that point. I think they did enjoy it. I just don't know what the hell he was smoking at that diner for everybody to leave, because there's not much vinegar in there. That, or he totally lost it. Like he's on his coffee or whatever he's doing in the mornings, and he's lost his taste buds, and he doesn't know what vinegar is anymore. I don't know what it is.
So I guess the bottom line is that Dave is just winging it on all his reviews now. He's just going off what he's
making crap up.
Yeah,
he doesn't really know.
Matt hands me cue cards underneath the table.
That's probably what it is. Hey, yeah.
Because he even looked at me. He said that stuff would be good on ice cream. I said, and that's when I told him afterwards. I said, even if there's a hint of vinegar, I just can't. I can't do it on ice cream. And he said, well, you never said that. You just said vinegar.
Yeah, it's like, is that the vinegar in this? Gosh.
I was like, dude, you should have kicked me under the table or something, because I'm like, or said something.
I was waiting for the video for 2 days. I was like, damn, I had to wait and see that. I was like, damn. I wouldn't even click the damn button if I knew I was going to get blasted. Well, here's this hobbyist grower. We don't know what kind of shit he's putting in there, but it's got a lot of vinegar. I'll tell you that.
Hey, I was I was like, even Matt, he said, "Are you gonna?" He said, "Why did you call him a hobbyist sauce maker?" I said, "To protect him." I said, "Because if I didn't call you a hobbyist sauce maker," I said, "those people on some of them other companies out there." I said, "Some of them guys are like wolves, man." I said, "Trust me, they'll go after anybody that they find a threat."
I'm cool. That's what you can call me that. I mean, I have no
It's
plan.
okay. You protected him. You said it was way too vinegar for
You
anybody.
know what they did? They said, "Well, I was gonna message this guy, this Charles P guy, but screw it, man. If it's vinegar like that, I'll just go.
Got vinegar sauce.
I'm just gonna order some Tabasco. I'll save me some money. I can get that at $2.34 at the store."
All right, you guys did your job. I feel bad.
Now let's see. What can I say about this kind of thing in here? In these
Let me guess. Too much vinegar.
Oh, hell yeah, white vinegar and then reimagined. My God, I didn't know you can get that much white vinegar in a damn powder. But God, man, I did get that taste to it. I almost put it on my pizza or my hamburgers or anything.
Vinegar is the second ingredient in my powder here.
I know.
It is.
Oh, yeah, it is.
It is.
It is kind of a vinegar forward powder. It's
Amazing,
it's like a powdered vinegar.
That powder though, Dave, like that one, Charles was telling me like how great that one is. That Reimagine is really, it's freaking awesome. You don't even notice that there's vinegar in it. Like I guess that if you really tried to sit and taste it, you could like think that it's in there. But like whatever the combination of stuff is, that it just does its job. And like for pizza, especially and I know that you're like me, you have a certain pizza fetish. It's not even an addiction, it's more of a fetish. I always see you posting in video, pictures, whatever, pizza. You're probably more of a pizza addict than I am. Charles always gives me crap for eating pizza all the time. But every time I see you post something, you're like eating pizza. Which I mean, that's awesome. That Reimagine.
I thought you were talking about me for a second.
No, you hate pizza. We all know that. You hate anything that's good in life. So
Chocolate, candy, popcorn, pizza.
Well, look at this crap. I showed this to Rob. Look at this crap. This is on my watch.
Huh.
So
yeah, he put the pizza dial on there in honor of.
It's on timeout.
It's pizza time.
It's pretty neat though.
Charles always hassles me for eating pizza too much though, and my thing is I go on like pizza benders where I'm like eating pizza for like a week, not every meal or anything, but like pretty regularly for a week. Then I won't have pizza for a while, but then in between that time, I talk to Charles like at least once a week. And I'm like, what are you up to? And he's like, oh, just pizza, eating some pizza. Like, Charles is always eating pizza and then hating on me for eating pizza when I'm not even eating pizza.
You know what I ate today for lunch? Pizza.
Exactly.
The last time I ate pizza.
And I haven't had pizza in like 3 days now. I'm starting to itch. Charles is over there teasing me. He's got his pizza clock and stuff.
Yeah, whatever. It's back. It's back to the other one now.
Hey, Erica wants to know, is Ghost Pepper hardy? Bought one and it's doing good under some shitty lights, but it's still producing. I would say, yeah. I about killed one of my ghosts. I thought it was completely dead, and next thing I know, it's starting to pop off leaves all over the place. All right, I think all peppers are pretty hardy, right?
Yeah, I think overall,
and most anything that's a chinense is really hardy. I mean, they can pretty much be at the verge of death, and with enough care or the right circumstances, they can get to like giant plants. I've had some really awful looking plants that have come back from essentially death to being monsters. And it's more the Chinense ones though that do that. Different other species of pepper plants don't bounce back the same, but the Chinense, they want to grow big.
So the Chinense more than like Bacadum or Annium or any of the other ones?
From my experience, it depends. I guess like I said, I had that freaking mammoth jalapeno plant that was probably one of the best rebounds of the whole season. That was broken to a nub and it like came back. So I don't know. I mean, I guess it just varies. But the Chinense, they want to get bigger than any of the other varieties, typically. So even with a bad start, they can get huge. And that's just my experience with them.
That's my goal for next year. I want to be able to actually grow, even though I've got thousands of seeds for each of these, I haven't been able to grow jalapeno, habanero, or poblano. I have not gotten one to actually sprout, let alone grow.
I'm never going
Rev,
with bananas again.
Rev, I'm going to send you the mammoth jalapenos and the New Mex lemon spice jalapenos. And Dave, if you want those, I can share some with you too. I mean, Rob and Charles as well. I know Charles has already won the lemon spice.
Yeah, because I gotta have a jalapeno section next year. That and a New Mex, like a Hatch chilies, and all those other ones I've grown.
But the mammoth jalapenos I've been growing for like 3 years now, and they're from the same like original seeds. I've just been throwing them out and saving the seeds each time. They grow awesome.
I got to do a Carolina Reaper experiment that was guaranteed by the person sending the seeds.
Damn, it says imminent threat. There's a warning in this area until 5. It says take shelter now.
Well, I don't want to see you on video and the roof's up, going away, and you're getting to the land of Oz.
I guess I need to like put it on a news channel or something and see like. I got the like it is really windy and like storming, and there was like tornado watches for my area earlier, but I haven't been keeping track of that stuff. I need to look on the TV and see. You guys can continue.
What's that until 11:45? So that was half an hour ago, but maybe.
Well, no, but I'm in Central Time.
It's only
so it's 11. So.
Okay.
So he's got another half.
Yeah.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, going back to the plants, like, for me, we're so hot, like I was discussing with some other people, it's so hot. My plants wants to grow big and not produce. And then they produce at the end. Where, like, you see some other growers, yourself included, they stay at that, hover in that 3 to 4-ish range and branch out and get big and loaded, where mine wants to go almost 6 foot to 7 foot tall and then get big, and then there's a 50-50 chance that it might do well.
Yeah.
Dang, there's like flash flood warnings and tornado warnings and all kinds of stuff going on right now.
Yeah. We had bad weather yesterday.
Well, I'm a day like behind your weather. Everything that comes from there is sliding over my way. It's like 1 day.
And everything that's hitting Rob's going to be hitting me the next day.
Yeah. And then
Rob said they were having those 20-some degree temps Wednesday night. I went and checked. Ours start dropping Wednesday.
Yeah,
like, you jinxed me, Rob.
I'm sorry.
It says Sunday's going to be 42 at night. That'll be our coldest.
42.
I know, that's really cold, right?
I got 30. Well, I don't know about Sunday. I only go up till Friday, but I got 34 Wednesday, 38 Thursday, and 31 Friday night. And it's not supposed to get out of the 40s on Friday.
I get the mid 50s till the weekend.
There's my local right now.
Jeez. I got 53.
Oh, and to rub it in, my back door is wide open right now. That's how warm it is here.
Must be nice.
It is.
Well, it's only 53 here, so I guess I could have my back door open. Although I'm wearing a hoodie.
Yeah, it's relatively nice here right now, like temperature-wise. But there's the thing is that it's kind of like a cool front behind this storm front that's rolling through.
Yep.
And
that's weird. They're calling.
I'm looking at it right now on the TV, and the way that they're showing it, I'm like right here, and the path of like the rotation is going this way, and I'm like just right above where it's like angled towards. So I mean, if something changed, it could like hit right at my area. Like I'm right within the projected little wedge that they show.
Yeah, my weather app on my phone says it's
68 degrees here right now. Like this is my weather. Tornado warning, 68 degrees, and that's what's headed at me.
Jeez.
I mean, like right now we're at 76, and then like our highest gonna be, today was probably the highest at 83, and then it's like gonna be in the 50s on Friday, 50s 45, and that's pretty much what it's gonna stay at till Monday or Tuesday.
Good God, the whole country's cooling down.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go scope out what it looks like outside. Make sure I don't blow away.
Don't take your camera with you.
I.e.
the tornado got me.
Yeah, mine says it's 65 here right now. My phone's always colder than it actually is, but it says 75 for tomorrow. So that's awesome.
Yeah, so you're about a little cooler than we are.
So we're supposed to be up near 70, about 67 or 68.
Yeah, like I said,
Rob, is it going to snow there?
Probably Tuesday night, maybe Wednesday night. It's been raining here for 2 days now. So expecting a lot of rain too.
I mean, in a way, I kind of want to see how long these plants are produced. Because I'm actually in search of a prop that I need to cut down. I mean, well, when I decide to take down my garden, so I can do my takedown of the garden video. Give me one more time. I'll have a little bit more time to find it.
You should just leave them up.
I don't want them all though. That's the thing. So, cut them all down or do whatever, and then shake all the dirt in the 500-gallon smart pot again, and get new compost and other ingredients, and make my soil cake again for the next season. Let that sit, and next year go into bigger pots and fewer plants. I want to actually make sure I can walk through the garden. That's my goal for next year. That whole area, I want to make sure I can actually walk through it. Because this isn't fun, right? As it is now, this is not fun at all. Trying to get through there. So it's like I'm looking for the predator anytime I'm with Arnold Schwarzenegger's team going through the jungle. And then, like I said, I do have plans. I'm not getting that back end where I don't have any shade or cloth or whatever. I'm gonna grow gourds. Because gourds like full sun. So for some reason, I got some wild hair or something at me, and I want to grow swan gourds, the bird feeder gourds, and all that stuff, and paint them and sell them like a not sell them maybe necessarily, but have them like a craft deal because I think they're cool looking. They have like a big apple. They have like eggs, whatever else, and kind of make do crafty things with gourds after they dry out. So that's another thing I want to do. So that's another project.
What about like sweet potatoes? Don't they love full sun?
Yeah, but I've never grown potatoes. And to be honest, I don't know if I actually I don't eat that many potatoes.
Oh man, I am so Irish. I go through like 5 pounds every couple days.
Okay.
It's always
Crap, that reminds me, I got potatoes in the ground still. Oh, jeez.
Well, at least they're in the ground.
Huh.
They're not
I
going
totally forgot. Wow. Glad you talked about potatoes, guys.
I need to grow potatoes every year, but I never do.
Huh.
What you got? You see the wicked old witch of the West out there, Rob?
Not yet, but I mean, there's thunder and lightning and crazy wind and stuff and rain. I don't know. I mean, it's icky outside, but I don't see any tornadoes.
That's
My
good.
plants are still okay.
That's good.
Yeah. As long as the plants are okay, we're good.
Some of them,
Yeah,
for my garden, they keep falling over, and I'm not worried about picking them up. I'm tired of picking them up.
If you hear that Wizard of Oz music starting up, just brace yourself.
If you start hearing the dun 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 dun.
I'm in like one of the worst rooms of the house because where the storm is coming from, it's going to come from directly this window and go to this window, which there's 2 windows right here, and like it's going to rip. I'm like on the corner of the house that's facing where the imminent threat is.
You have a little companion, Rob? You don't have any pets, do you? No Totos or anything?
I got Charlie Brown. I'm okay.
I don't know about that.
I got Charlie Brown.
I'm trying to think about how your Wizard of Oz story would work out. Like who
I
you
don't know,
meet.
but I rescued Charlie Brown years ago, so hopefully he'll save me.
Well,
Yeah,
instead of Toto, he's going to have Charlie Brown.
It's Charlie Brown. He's gonna go meet the Pepper Man instead of the Scarecrow. The Tin Man's gonna be the dehydrator. Rob, I need some more peppers for me. My trees.
That's funny. You got Charlie Brown. I got Peppa the Pig.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Charlie Brown I like found in a like shed. It was creepy. Like it was at this farm that they're like turning into a neighborhood, and like the houses were like old, like early 1800s, like farmhouses, like on like a plantation, and they had been inhabited up to like modern years, obviously. Which let me see if this one has a date on it. No, it doesn't have a date on it. But there was a bunch of somewhat modern, like up to 90s toys in this shed. Like, I mean, an entire pile, like trash bags worth of all these dolls and toys and stuff laying in the middle of this little shed in the middle of like woods by this lake. And
What's up?
digging through that stuff with one of my buddies, and I saw Charlie Brown. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to rescue Charlie Brown. So I took Charlie Brown home, and I've had him ever since. Like, that was the only thing I rescued out of there. There was like thousands of toys in there. And I saw Charlie Brown. I was like, I can't leave Charlie Brown.
That's Julian's onto something. So the big mouth Billy Bass would be like the lion standing out there, and it'd be saying, "Take me to the river, take me to the water." And Rob's Wizard of Oz story.
In like, I think it was 2010, we had like what they called a like 1,000-year flood in my area, and my house was like a freaking island. Like I could have launched a kayak from my front door and paddled down the street.
I had that for 3 years, dude. This was the
My
first
driveway had like
3 years I haven't had that. I mean, y'all know how it was last year. Last year I was in the freaking damn shelter and stuff for like a week.
Did
So
you
I
have
got
water all around your house?
yes.
Yeah.
It was I just had the pictures. I mean, the water was all the way up to my driveway.
I mean, my
it's
driveway had like 8
on
inches.
my porch.
It was it was exactly like up to like near the foundation. My
Well, all
whole
I'm gonna say is they did it. They had a John boat and get me to the area to transport me to the shelter. The John boat was on my front porch, so that's where the water was.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yard,
like how it was.
front yard
The
had
people
enough
across
water
the
to
street
have a
from me,
John boat.
the people across the street from me had like 4 feet of water in their house.
Oh, they had it was all underwater back. It went like I said. Once I see the sago palm at the house, 3 houses down, that's where you're. If it's flooding a lot, don't go down there. You see that sago
No, but
palm?
I mean, like my house didn't get water in it, but I could throw a baseball from my door to my neighbor's house, and they had 4 feet of water in their house. But we didn't get water in it. It was just like, and it was crazy. It happened like so rapidly. Nobody
We've
knew
had
that
our
it was
front
going to happen.
yard pretty flooded during hurricanes and stuff. But 2 years ago, when there was a hurricane, our house was like you said, it was like a little island, right? And it had just water all around there. I had like 2.5 feet in my driveway that I had to drive through for 3 months before it actually went away.
Holy crap!
Yeah, one of my buddies came over, and he was just like coming over to hang out for like an hour or two, and then that stuff ended up happening. He ended up staying like the whole day, and he had his car in my driveway, and he had to pull it to like all the way around back of my house, which actually I've got a garden there now, so he would have had to like mow down pepper plants to park where he parked, but he parked on like this high spot in my like back corner of my yard and had his car sitting there, and like he had to just like wait it out. Like we basically just deemed it that he wasn't going home, and we like sat and had some drinks, and we're like, damn, like we could go kayaking the road out there.
When my yard got flooded, that's when my cousin was living with me, and his friends kept coming over, and they kept driving in, and they'd be fine driving up to the house, and they would like pull right up next to the house because the water came right up to the foundation, but slowly receded over time. But they would pull like right up next to the house. But every time this one dude came over and he tried to leave, he got stuck every single time in like this little S10. And it was so, it's an S10, but it's so little that I would pull the quad out and put a ratchet strap on his truck and tied to the quad and actually pull him out with my quad. It's pretty funny.
Damn.
And the funniest part about that whole storm was my cousin was like, because I'm back here in the middle of the swamps and the woods and stuff. He's like, yeah, I think I'm going to my friend's house for the hurricane. I'm like, okay, like you're probably going to be okay here. I've lived here through many hurricanes. It's been, it's always been fine. And he's like, no, I don't want a tree to fall or, anything bad to happen to my truck. So he went to his friend's house. Guy has one tree in his yard. I got like 500 in my front yard. What happens? Tree fell, hit his fender, smashed in his fender on his truck. The only tree, within 200 yards of his truck hit his freaking truck. Here, not a tree fell.
I think you've told me that story before. That's epic.
I love that, man. I mean, I would probably do the same thing, better safe than sorry kind of thing, like get away from trees, but I don't know. I wasn't going anywhere.
All right, fellas, I'm going to sign off here.
Yeah, I think I am too. I'm starting to fall asleep here.
Work's coming real quick.
Huh?
I said work's coming real quick in the morning.
Yeah, for me too.
Not me.
I'm just waiting on the tornado.
Yeah, you got to get some video footage of that. If the storm.
I don't think it's gonna happen. I need to look and see again, but I think it was saying until 11:30, and it's 11:35 now. So
It's at 11:45, sir. You got 10
yeah,
minutes.
11:45. So I've got 10 more minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we all know how accurate the weather service is.
It's AccuWeather. What the hell are you talking about, man? You know it's accurate.
I have the weather channel on my phone. That's what I go by is the weather channel.
Yeah, but most news agencies, they have an AccuWeather whatever. So
Still,
AccuWeather.
they're still like I just pulled it up. It still says tornado warning, and that's what's headed towards me, which I'm pretty much like right in the middle, right there by that little yellow dot, and that's like what's headed at me. Or actually, no, I'm in the red where that is.
By Murfreesboro.
Yeah,
Murfreesboro.
no, I'm right above like the wait, that's Nashville. There's Franklin. I'm right above like the A in Franklin is where I'm at. So I'm like right near that pocket, which the way that tornadoes work, that's like pretty much where they would pop up. Here's more zoomed in. You can see it above the A in Franklin where those two roads meet. I'm like in between. I'm in between that area and that area. Like I'm right on the edge of that nasty stuff, right near that pocket.
Yeah, and that highway north of you is Highway 40. That's what we drove to get to Colorado. So I went right by you.
Yeah, Interstate 40 runs like pretty much all the way across Tennessee from east to west.
Oh, it goes across the entire U.S. We got on it in North Carolina, and we didn't get off until Albuquerque, New Mexico.
All right, guys, I'm gonna cut it out here. I'll see you next week, if not sooner.
Okay.
Yep.
Hey, man.
All righty, see you, bye.
Later, Rob.
Bye.
I'm heading out with him. If I don't join, hey Tom, I'll text you about it. But I may be heading to the kitchen the next week and a half or two. Finally,
Sweet.
I may be floating down the river tomorrow, depending on what the tornado is. Everybody pray that Charlie Brown has my back on this one. I think that me and him are going to be all right. I'm looking up.
Wait, can I pray that the tornado takes Charlie Brown?
Nah. That means that if it takes Charlie Brown, then my pepper plants aren't going to be okay.
No, I want you and your pepper plants to be fine, but just Charlie Brown to get taken out.
Well, Charlie Brown's sitting here on my computer. He's watching the show right now. Like,
oh my!
all
right, I'll see you
got
guys.
Charlie Brown just sitting there, and he's just like facing it, but on the computer. So,
Charles, see you.
Later. Watch your vinegar consumption.
All right, you big jerk. See ya.
Later.
Oh, dang. I missed A. Later, Adam. Later, Freaky. Later.
But yeah, I would say that everybody like towards the East Coast is going to be affected with this. Like that's pretty zoomed out of what's coming through my area, and I'm like, I'm like right in the middle of that, and that's just rolling through the country.
I still got a while before it hits me.
Probably a day and a half before it makes it over to you because you're on the coast.
Yep.
But it's already affecting a lot of people in Ohio. Like any of the people up there in Ohio that are in the PLC are already like getting it because it's pretty much covering Ohio.
That's coming right from Dave too.
Yeah, it's probably during the night going to be hitting Dave. Kentucky's getting it. Indiana just got it probably. A lot of parts of Illinois probably got earlier today. And it's all the way down into Louisiana. I don't know if it's as far into like Rockies area or not. And it's just a little skinny tail coming down into Louisiana. So he may not be getting it, but
That's right, Julian. Right near the beach. Boy. What a mercy. Where in Jamaica do you live? Speaking of one of my favorite actors, comedians, all that stuff, Harlan Williams. He was on Something's Burning today.
That's cool.
And some guy I can't remember what his name was. He seemed to be pretty famous though. Pretty fresh.
can you hear the rain?
Nah.
I mean, I just didn't know because I can hear it so vividly from the roof. Like, I don't have like a tin roof or anything. Like, I've got regular shingles and stuff, but it's just pounding out there.
It was Harlan Williams and Michael Rosenbaum. I don't really know who Rosenbaum is, but they were saying movies he was in, and I was like, wow, how do I not know this guy? Like, he's been in a bunch of movies. Later, Julian.
I'm not too far out. I'm tired. I've been up since 4 something, 5.
Later, Julian.
Oh yeah, I know that guy.
What, Rosenbaum?
Yeah.
I saw him and I didn't know him, but when they talked about the movies he was in, I'm like,
He was the guy. He was the Lex in Smallville.
I've never seen Smallville. That's one of the things they talked about, and I was like, wasn't that really popular that I've never seen?
Yeah, it was in Urban Legends, Sweet November, Guardian of the Galaxies 2.
I saw Urban Legends. I was just all excited that Harlan Williams was in there. I forgot how many movies that guy was in. I remember like Half Baked. I forgot about, well, I didn't forget about There's Something About Mary, but that's one of my favorite lines of all of Something About Mary. What are these seats made out of? Cactus?
I know that, or 7. 7's the key, you know, not 6, 7.
7 silly squirrels sitting on a branch, eating lots of sunflowers on your uncle's ranch. You know that old nursery rhyme from the sea?
That's in my office.
Like, cause you're fired.
Yeah, I like that. Michael Rosenbaum. Oh, cool.
Yeah, what was the other one? He was saying another movie. He was in Harlan Williams was saying he was in a movie with De Niro, Dustin Hoffman. I mean, he just started naming off all these top movie stars where I was like, really? You were in a movie with that guy? Who's it? De Niro, Dustin Hoffman. I can't remember him. I think Rosenbaum was talking about smoking with Kevin Spacey, which was kind of funny. He's like, he never hit on me or try to grab anything, but he was always really cool with me.
Yeah.
Rev, I'm glad that you're back. I think that I speak on behalf of the entire community that everybody felt entirely lost without you.
I didn't feel lost. I'm just relieved because I'm tired of doing all these shows.
Well, we did it in respect of Rev to like keep his seat warm, but like I'm glad you're back. Like I think every single person, everybody missed you. You don't even know how many people were like asking about you.
No, he knows.
You're the most missed person of the year. It's like you pulled a Tupac, but you're back.
Nah, everybody was fine.
Well, everybody missed you. That's all I was saying. I
Did
missed
you-
you, myself included, and I'm glad that you're back. And that's all I was trying to say.
So do you normally? That's what time you normally get off? 9-ish.
Oh no, we're open from 7:30 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. So I could be working anytime within those hours. Like sometimes I'm 8 to 4, sometimes I'm 2 to 10. So and it changes every week. Like even my days off change every week too. So
Right. I
I'm
mean, mine do as well. Well, mine's been pretty consistent, but it's not like my job I had a few months ago. So it's different.
wait, you got a new one?
Yeah, I quit the other one.
Sweet. Better job or at least better, working conditions or
Yeah, I work my ass off, dude.
You can get awesome deals on awesome equipment for awesome things. Anything awesome.
Nah, whatever. I'm not discussing what I do. It's the same thing. It's still retail. But I usually work.
Yeah, it's cooler stuff, and it can cater more to like the pepper hobby, in a sense.
I work like either 6 to 6 or 12 to 11 generally. So, like I said, usually I'm pretty tired. Usually I'm way in bed by this time. So I try to keep everything on Sundays till like 10ish. I don't, like I said, I haven't been as active in a lot of live streams and what have you because I'm usually going to sleep by the time most of them are getting going. So I was just waiting on this one, so I wanted to see because I was tempted to just start it at like 8 something, and then I was like 9:30 coming. I was like, crap, I guess he's not coming on. I was like, damn, Rob's been waiting and what have you. I'm like, shit, maybe I should have started it at 8, like we have been for the past couple months.
I figured you would have did the same
Well,
thing I
I
did
saw
yesterday.
I saw this morning. I was like, well, I guess he's going at it, so I'll let it be. That's I didn't mess with it.
No, that's
Yeah,
why
I
I
messaged Charles about it too because like I've been on the schedule of like 8 o'clock being ready and doing it, or like a little before, and I was like, I figured you were going to do it, but I didn't know when. And then once it got to like where Charles said 9:30, I was like, I guess he isn't doing it, and I just like went about doing some things. That's why I was a little late getting in because I
no,
just kind
last
of
night Charles said
sidetracked.
he might go live earlier because I was going to be later, and that's why I scheduled it like
No,
before.
I thought I didn't know what time you were gonna do it. I was like gonna just kind of start the show, and then whenever you got off, you come in and or whatever. That's
Yeah,
what I kind of was planning on. But
no,
then
that's what I was
then I
planning
saw
on.
that this morning. I'm like, well, since he already set it up and had it going, hell with it. I'm not gonna go into YouTube and when I get home because I mean I'm not gonna set it up in the morning because by the time I saw the notice, I was already at work and I can't do anything at work. So I
Yeah.
have to wait till I get home and then I only have an hour because I mean I don't get home till 6 something usually. And then I'm like I don't have a lot of time to set all it up and then send it over to PLC and do whatever. And so I was like, ah, hell with it. We'll just let it ride and see what time we're going to start.
Well, that's why I set it up before I went to work today because I figured that you might go before me. So I figured, like, well, I'm not going to start until at least 10. So I set it for 10 because I knew I was done working at 10 and I work 3 minutes away. So it only takes me like 3 minutes to get home.
Yeah.
So I kept checking my phone at like 8 o'clock, waiting for you to go live. Like, he's got to be going live. I was hanging out in areas where I knew I had router service, so I could just log right on and watch it on my phone.
And I was doing my normal thing, watching Daily Driven Exotics and whatever else on YouTube. Oh, Live PD.
Live PD.
Live PD is awesome. It's like New Age Cops.
I never liked Cops.
Well, it's awesome. How could you not like
So
that?
this one might be good, but the old school Cops. I never liked that.
Then I got to watch all those Joe Rogans on YouTube. So all the Joe Rogan clips. Since you got me hooked on that, then you abandoned us, and I got stuck with Joe Rogan.
Good thing to be stuck with. There was a lot of good ones too.
There was actually.
Live PD doesn't just glorize the best of the best like Cops does. Live PD shows like low level crimes that are just, I mean, basically what it is it's just different, different like employees of different police departments that they follow around like in different places around the
Is it
country.
actually
And
live? So whatever you're watching, that's actually what's going down, or is it like pre-recorded?
no,
It was
I
pre-recorded,
mean,
but it was on A&E first, and then they rebroadcast it on YouTube. But I don't have cable, so it works out for me. It's a win-win for
yeah, I
me.
watch it
I don't
on
have
A&E, but
cable.
like even on A&E, it's not live. But like it, I don't know, it's good, and they make it like long. It's not like a 30-minute show like Cops, and they don't just follow one thing and keep going till that's over. They'll be like, okay, we're gonna take a break now, and then they go, and then they'll be like, okay, check him back into this going on with so and so, and they'll go back to like a story, and they kind of go back and forth like as things fold out. Because I mean, a lot of those different situations when the cops are responding to certain things, like it's not like it's like a quick 3-minute fix and then it's over. So they just have their little video footage. It's like an hour of like talking with different people. So they keep going back and forth, and they'll be like, okay, well, we're going to check back in on this, but right now, officer such and so is pursuing a suspect, and they'll like switch and go to something else. And it's kind of cool. The way it's set up, it's different from Cops, and it's entertaining. Charles likes it. My mom watches it a lot too. Like I like it too. It's New Age Cops. That's the best way
I'd
of
probably watch it. My biggest problem with Cops was they'd be like, "Oh, we're gonna throw the book at this guy who has a joint," and I'm like, "Let the guy go. Like he just has a joint. He didn't
Most of
bother
the most
anybody."
of the scenarios on that live PD is like, dude, why are you doing something stupid? Why are you running? It's just that I was just gonna give you a ticket for the joint, couple joints, whatever else, and that's basically how they go about it. It's like they're not like making a big deal out of
Yeah.
something small, but some of them are crazy, man. It
yeah.
just it
I've
just
seen
it
some
just
crazy
so
shit.
this one guy, when the guy pissed himself, he's like, "Why the hell did you piss all over your shorts?" He's like, "Now I'm gonna have to go and put you in a suit, put all this stuff in there before I put you in my damn car, doing whatever." He's like, well, "I told you I had to go use the bathroom really bad." He's like, "And you couldn't wait until whatever." He's like, "You're a grown ass man." I'm like, "Well, I had to go." It's just I don't know.
So that's your logic. You gotta go, so you just go, eh?
Yeah, grown ass man pissing in his damn swim shorts
That's
or whatever the
hilarious.
hell it was.
I
He's
can
like,
tell you right now, though, I gotta go take a piss so bad that if a cop stopped me and I had to have like a 30 plus minute ordeal with a cop, I might have to go piss in my pants. Like, and that's just the logistics of it. Sometimes when you gotta go, you gotta fucking go, and there's no holding it back. But like at the same time, I understand what you're saying. It's just, I mean, everybody's been there where they gotta go. Like, and anybody that's ever dealt with a cop in any circumstance knows it's not a quick process. Doesn't matter if you haven't done anything at all. It's just like they have to sit and like the interrogation and everything is slow. There's nothing quick about it.
Reminded me of Forrest Gump meeting the president. I gotta pay. What's up, Scott? Everyday Canadian.
What's
Yeah,
up, Scott?
legalization happening, what, the 17th of October?
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
It's very
And he
cool,
said
actually.
that now they treat weed like alcohol here in Canada. Can't smoke and drive. I I guess you're correct. I think I would take it more of you can't smell like weed and drive. I guess you could smoke and then not smell like weed and drive, and you'd be fine. But
It just depends on the person. I mean, it's the same as alcohol.
same thing, depends on the
Some people
person.
don't have a tolerance. I mean, if
Yeah,
you don't have a tolerance, it's the same as alcohol, and it's the same as peppers. Even for another
yeah.
example, like easy tolerance, like Brando can eat freaking CPR for breakfast, but anybody else that would ruin their day. But then there's some people out there that could like go smoke an ounce and drive to work and be okay. And then there's people that would like
Yeah,
take a hit and not
like
be okay.
like Snoop Dogg.
Right.
It depends on the person. And I've seen people that can drink a lot and then pretty much seem unaffected. And then there's some people that drink a little bit and they're just tore up.
I've known so many people that got a DUI that were like 0.18, 0.22, stuff like that, like crazy high limits where the cop didn't even know they were drunk. They were just like, oh, you kind of smelled like alcohol, and because you blew in a breathalyzer, yeah, you're drunk. And Scott also says they got something like a breath thing or a high limit or something. I've heard that for a long time. I swear that's a scare tactic because I've never actually seen an actual like weed breathalyzer that they've got. I've heard it for years and years and years, like all the way back when I lived in Pennsylvania in the 90s.
Yeah,
But
I remember hearing that always too.
and I always hear like that and a alcohol breathalyzer, put a penny under your tongue and you'll beat it. But I don't believe that either.
No. I'm pretty sure that I've known people that have tried the penny tactic and it didn't work. And then they got caught with the penny too. And
I
like
know people
that it
that were completely drunk that did the penny thing and did not get busted. It came up like it didn't come up 0, but it came up like 0.02 instead of like 0.08 or something. But I still do not trust the penny thing. Everybody says like, "Oh, it's the copper," and I'm like, I don't even think pennies are made of copper anymore.
well, they're copper coated, but they're made of zinc is the main thing. It's since like sometime in the late 70s. I think it depends. There were different mints, I think, that went at different times. It's like the late 70s, like I think around 76 or 78. But I think that the last like full copper pennies were made in like 82. And I'm not 100% on that, but those are the numbers that are standing out in my mind. I do know a decent amount about coins and stuff, and that's the only reason that I like come out with those certain numbers. But I think that some of the mints had changed like around 76 or 78. And then the last one to change was like 82. So like the last full copper pennies are like 82.
Yeah, it's kind of like the
They're still
actual.
copper though, but I'm into metal detecting. And since I metal detect, I can find like, and it's gotten worse over the years because copper has gotten more expensive. So they're putting less and less of a copper coat on them, but they still are copper coated, but they're like entirely zinc is what they make them out of now.
Yeah.
And I can find a penny from the 90s and it might have some corroded spots where the copper has dissolved and it's like the coin itself is corroding. But then I can also find like a penny from like 2016 that the whole thing is like pretty much freaking corroded. It's
Yeah.
crazy. the newer coins, they corrode super fast. They put very little amount of any coating on them.
And it's kind of like
And
them
then
quarter.
the dime nickels have a certain consistency, but dimes and quarters are the same. And dimes and quarters are made of mostly copper, but they have like I think it's a silver nickel mix or something is what the coating is on them.
Yeah, whereas the quarters used to be made of silver, but that was like
Dimes too, and even the nickels too. They were made of silver,
I
not
have
pure silver, but they were
yeah.
silver. And
I've got a pile of the old school, like 1920s dimes and stuff like that, and like the Walking Liberty halves and stuff like that. But no, what is it like pre? My rule of thumb is like pre 78 in a quarter. Usually those are somewhat mostly silver. Like if it's 60,
no,
then
it was more in the I think it was the early '60s. It's either the late '50s or early '60s. I think it's early '60s, like early to mid '60s is when they stopped doing the silver. Up until then, they were mostly silver though, and then that's when they started going to copper centers on them. But I think it's somewhere around the mid '60s.
well, I know the 71, that's when we fully came off the gold standard. So I know that everything after that probably isn't really worth much, but yeah, what is that? A dime?
I don't know if it's gonna focus, and I can try to use a flashlight and see that that actually from that angle that might help it. It doesn't really show it still, but that's a seated Liberty half dime. Which here's the back of it. You can see it says half dime. Probably not seeing anything on the camera actually. It's a tiny little coin. Like here's like example of my finger next to it. It's tiny. It's smaller than a dime. I'd say it's about half the size of an actual dime. But it's a seated Liberty silver half dime. This one is from 1840. It's in like near mint condition too. I found it on a Civil War battlefield on the Battle of Franklin battlefield here in Middle Tennessee, and I mean that thing's like a pristine example. Here, let me see. Actually, that's the wrong part. I'm sure I have a dime. I'll hold up a dime in comparison. Yeah, here's a dime.
I'm going to bed. It's after
This
I'm turning into
this sleeve is actually for a dime, or no? Yeah, it is for a dime. The dime fills out the sleeve, but you can see that one like leaves a big gap in it. But there's a regular dime in comparison to that half dime to show the size difference. It's much smaller.
But Charles is going to go to bed. So,
Rob's going to bed soon too.
so I have still got to get up early because my dog's still not figured out the time change. So 4:19 or whatever it is 5:19, and that's what time he's going to want to eat. So 5 hours from now comes awful quick.
Well, then go ahead and put food in there before you go to bed.
And no, they would already eat it. They don't work like that. They
That's how
don't go.
my dog.
They don't work that way. They don't go and eat as they go. If it's in the bowl, it's gone in less than a minute. They don't
Yep.
work. Neither one of my dogs work that way. So no, they don't get food until I want to feed them.
My dog used to be really good about it. You put food in her bowl, she would like eat a little bit, like walk away. She'd come back an hour or two later, eat a little bit. But the other dog was a chow hound and ate everything immediately and would go over to her bowl and eat it. So my dog was like, well, if I don't eat it now, I'm not going to have any. So she does the same thing, just chows it all down.
Okie doke. Well, I'll see y'all later. I'll talk to you later. Had fun. Thanks for having me on. Nice seeing you again, Rev. Next time, please talk to me more. Please.
In all fairness, I really didn't talk to anybody.
I know you didn't, but I'm saying please talk to us.
Yeah, I tried.
That's the
Charles tried.
that's,
Everybody tried. Everybody was worried. Like, not even, I wasn't even so worried. I just wanted to, like, like maintain contact. Like Charles is saying, just stay in contact. You don't have to do
Yeah,
much. I mean, if you're busy, you're busy. But like, just stay in contact.
I was just on vacation.
Living the dream. the famous message.
That's not the best response. That's the longest sentence we got out of you in 2 months.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right.
It's just another storm. I'm just living the dream. Those weren't in the same message, but those were the two greatest quotes out of it.
At Storms.
All right.
Later, Charles.
See you later.
Later, Charles.
Bye.
Later, Vinegar Man.
That first hurricane was garbage. My parents were like, "You got to come back to Pennsylvania. Like, you shouldn't stay there. It's a Category 4." And I'm like,
I honestly thought you had left until I like heard that you didn't, and then I like stayed pretty on top of like watching that one, and you really didn't get much of anything from it.
I didn't get anything. We got 10 minutes of wind, or no, 15 minutes of wind and 10 minutes of rain.
They were saying like 3+ foot storm surge there and stuff at one point, and like then like
if we got that, my house would be underwater.
Yeah,
like, it would be like up to here in the house.
I know, and that's why I was like, dang, like he's like got like some bad stuff headed your way, but then it turned out to be nothing. Like I stayed on top of it, and like I knew even without you telling me, I was like, all right, he's okay. Like I know he's all right.
It was bad where my sister lives. She just moved at the end of July. She moved south of me like 3 hours. She got hit pretty hard. She was without electricity for, I forget. She said it was supposed to be 2 weeks, but I think it was only like 5 days. But she went to her boyfriend's house, and he had like extra generators. Like all his family came over. Like grandma came over, the aunts and uncles, mom and dad, sisters, brothers, everybody just came over, and they had, like I said, they got extra. Well, they had extra generators where not only would the extra fridge and freezers be running, but they could have air conditioning the whole time and all that stuff. And but no, it was pretty messed up down there. She said a lot of people's houses got hit pretty hard. And a lot of people just lost a bunch of shingles, which wasn't that bad. They would put up tarps and stuff. But then, like a few weeks later, what was it? Hurricane Michael or whatever came up from the Gulf, like up the interior of the coast. And she said that one actually messed up a lot of people's houses because first thing it did was blow those tarps right off, and nobody had their roof fixed because everybody needed it fixed.
Yeah.
But still wasn't that bad.
Florida got freaking obliterated in places. Like on the west coast, like Gulf side, panhandle area and stuff, like they got just rocked.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of videos. There's this one guy that I follow that's a YouTuber, and he does like it's like an arrowhead hunter, and he lives more in like southern Alabama, but he grew up like in the panhandle area somewhere. I forget exactly where, but he went down there, and I guess his I think his parents are passed away, but like or maybe his mom's passed away, and I think maybe his dad still is alive. And he went down to like where his house that he grew up at though, like as a child, and he's like in his 50s. But he went down there and like was doing work in the neighborhood and like helping like tarp roofs and stuff like all, and it just showed he drove around like all these different harbors and marinas and stuff and was showing like all the wreckage. It was just insane. All the like $150,000+ yachts and sailboats I mean, up to in millions of dollar boats that were just destroyed.
Yeah, that's
And
crazy.
then he was showing like his house that he grew up at though, and like it got like on one side, pretty much all the roof was peeled off like a quarter of the way through the house.
What's
But it didn't really sustain so much damage other than that. It was just like the whole roofing, like the actual skeleton of it was all still intact, but like the like plyboard and shingles and everything just got stripped. All the insulation just blew out of it to where it was just hollowed out and stuff. But
What's up, Pained X Alpha X? Go for it. Ask any question you want. We never have a topic.
nope.
Anything is well, everything is off topic. So, but yeah, go for it if you got a question, and don't apologize. Yeah. So where was that? Like Panama City? Isn't that where the weather
Yeah,
came?
he was down around the Panama City area, and like there were some other different places. Um, his, I mean, not that anybody would really care. It's nothing interesting, but if you wanted to like look at him, it's Dirty Water Jones is his
That's a
YouTube
great name.
name. He's a cool old cat, and uh, anybody that's into arrowhead hunting and stuff like that, that's pretty much what his channel's about. But he also kind of goes off topic on different things. That happened to be one of the things. He also has some different political rants and stuff where he'll be sitting around having some beers and playing some music. And I can say that if you wanted Hillary Clinton to be president, you probably don't want to follow his channel. But other than that, he's a cool dude. I mean, and that doesn't change my opinion of him. I'm just saying that some people may like see him as not being the person that they would want to follow for a YouTube subscriber. But he's a good dude. Cool videos.
I forgot you're all into the arrowheads and stuff. I
Oh yeah.
haven't, still
I've
haven't
still
been.
been asking you like to take some pictures of those ones and show them to me. Like you should do that sometime.
Oh, I haven't been back there since like 2011 or something like that. So
Well, just like whenever it happens, take pictures.
I should actually message my dad and just be like, "Hey, take pictures of all your stuff," and then when he sends them to me, I just forward them right on to you.
I mean, that would work too. Do that. I don't even care about any of them in particular, like as far as like I'm like looking for them or anything. I just that's how much into it that I am, that I enjoy just like looking at pictures. I mean, it's just like people that are so much into fishing. Uh, it's kind of like fish pictures have kind of like deemed the nickname over time of being fish porn. Like it is like when and peppers, it's like pepper porn. Like when people are posting pictures like peppers hanging on plants, like partially ripened, and they're like, "Oh, check out this gnarly pheno," and everybody's like, "Man, that's the sickest pheno." Like everybody's just like getting hard on for these peppers. It's pepper porn, fish porn, arrowhead porn. It's all the same.
Look at that, Alex. Look at that tail.
Yeah.
I don't think Pained is gonna ask a question.
Who?
Pained X Alpha X asked if
I never
they.
saw that. It doesn't show up in my thing.
Yeah. Oh wait, I am on. Nope, doesn't make a difference. I was gonna say I'm on the
Top
top
chat.
chat, yeah, instead of live chat, but no, it doesn't matter if I change it; it's still there.
Yeah, all I see is at 12:04 an everyday Canadian said BRB. That's the last thing I see. That's not what you see?
No, I see that, and he said 60s quarters of silver. The
Yeah, but where's the other one that you're talking about?
right after an everyday Canadian, right after Scott's message.
Be right back.
Yeah, right after the BRB, it says, "May I ask a question?" And I apologize if it's off topic. And I said, "Go for it." And now Scott's back.
Yeah, and I don't ever see the other one that you're talking about. I just exited out and okay, now I see it.
Uh,
What's up, Scott?
Welcome back, Scott.
You're the only active people out of 9 people that are watching. Everybody's just sitting there waiting for us to mess up. I swear, it's just like waiting for our imminent failure. Nobody can comment. There's 9 people out there watching, and nobody can comment in the chat. But yet you're watching.
At
And I
10
know
now,
you're
they're waiting for me to fall asleep. Look, did it again.
at least provide a topic for us to feed into or something.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm still rusty. It's been 2 months since I've been
Charlie
on.
Brown's getting bored over here.
Ooh, oh, it is Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. Nice call, Will. Heck yeah. I just had tacos the other night. Actually, I still have taco flour tortillas, and I got cooked chicken in the fridge. I can make some chicken tacos.
I was actually like my buddy I was hanging out with earlier, showing him this. Check this out. This freaking taco lighter, but it's like in space. It's a space taco. That's what it is. It's a taco that's in space. Yeah, that's a terror, so ignore that. But it's a space taco. And the coolest part that like was anything that even made me like bring this up. The lighter itself, it's like kind of rusted, and it took a little bit of like finessing to like get back to where it would spark. And then once it sparked, it was able to light though because it's got like a good bit of fluid. I found this like by the river though, and the coolest part of it was it was on a Tuesday. I was out fishing with one of my buddies, and I found this lighter, and it was like I had to cross the river because I got snagged, and it was like an expensive lure. I was like, "No, nah, I'm not gonna break that off." So I waded across, and then laying like right on the shoreline, I saw that lighter. And I think it was laying like face down to where I just saw that side. But I picked it up and I saw the taco on it, and I was like, "Dang, it's a freaking taco, the space taco."
It's a
And then I
sign
realized it was
on
Tuesday. I was like,
taco
I
lighter.
found a space taco lighter on Taco Tuesday. So that's kind of been my like most recent lucky lighter. I've just like had that one laying around for a while. I would have finished it a long time ago, but that one I've been like conserving. It's the freaking space taco. Aliens, man.
Will wants to know if anybody got one lemon starburst. Yes, I got one lemon starburst from Charles, but I have not tried to grow them yet.
I got 3 lemon starburst seeds from Charles originally, and then I had one from Scott Tippett, and the one from Scott Tippett I got earlier. That one seed, it came up with the freaking helmet head too, and I was like sending Scott pictures because I've dealt with helmet heads before, but like it's like a 50-50. If you try to like squeeze it and you try and pull it off, like you may or may not get it, and it may or may not die. And then I was asking Scott, like, I really, because at that point that was the only lemon starburst seed that I had, and I was like, I really want to be able to like grow this one. And he was like, well, I've had success like trimming very carefully the edges of the seed with like clippers. And so I did that. I took some braided fishing line clippers. They're basically like little nail clippers, but they're for like braided fishing lines. So they're like ultra sharp. And I just trimmed off very carefully the edge of the seed cover and then kind of squeezed it to where I was able to get it to come off. It took probably a good day to get the seed cover fully off. When I did, the seed leaves opened up, they were missing the very tips just because of how I had to cut it. But there was enough there to catch some light. It took a while before they ever started to put out the first signs of true leaves, but when they did, they took off. Like as soon as those came out, they took off, and it grew out to be a huge plant.
I've had a bunch of helmet heads that I let it, because they're like trying to be like this, but they're all like wedged up and like you got the helmet
Yeah,
on.
and then they're like this in the seed, but then because the seed cover like down at the bottom, they'll like do
Yep.
this, and like the whole top part, like here's the bottom is the seed cover, but the leaves are like this in there, and
Yep.
you can try to pull it off, but you can't ever really pull it off. And if you squeeze it from side to side, sometimes it'll squeeze and relieve it, but that doesn't
Yep.
always work. The way this one though came up, that's like best case scenario in my book. This one came up to where it was a straight thing with a seed cover. Like it didn't even show where the seed leaves were trying to come out. Like there was nothing you could see. It was a straight stick with a seed cover on top, just a seed cover. And I reburied it. Didn't dig it up and rebury it. I just put more soil in there and I reburied it, hoping that it would come up and like correct itself and the seed cover would come off. No, it just shot up straight more with the same seed cover. So that was the point that I had to take drastic measures, and it was like going in for freaking surgery. Like I was pretty convinced that thing wasn't gonna make it, and it was the only one I had at that point. So it was like so critical to try to do anything I could. I was sitting there like I swear I probably didn't breathe for like a minute and a half while I was like trying to clip that seat cover off, just like holding my breath, like trying to wipe the sweat off out of my eyes and like just like clip it perfectly.
Yeah, and if you can get them to where they actually like open up a little at the bottom like that, usually you're going to be okay. I just grab the sides of them and usually like pull it right off. And like you said, like
Yeah.
usually the tips just rip right off. But once it opens up, then it'll usually take off, or it dies. But I don't know. It's usually like a 50-50, but I think with my odds, it's normally been like 80%, like 80-20. But Will, you don't have any lemon starburst seeds? He's hoping that he gets
Will,
one seed. I'd be
I
hoping
was
for more
talking
like
to you earlier. I talk to Will like every single day, and he's like being the biggest crybaby ever. Not once has he ever said that he wants lemon starburst seeds. He hadn't even showed any interest in any lemon starburst. And I'm calling you out, Will, because I was talking to you before I ever hopped in here. Like that was part of the reason I was a little bit late. I mean, I was also just late because I didn't expect you to actually go on after enough time had gone by. But I was talking to him. He didn't say anything about needing any lemon starburst seeds. And he knows I've got lemon starburst seeds. So yeah, if that's an issue, like you got lemon starburst seeds as soon as they can get to you.
there you go, man.
Good ones too. Isolated plant.
Those are
Basically
the big fat
isolated.
ones, weren't they?
Yeah, I had like, especially the ones I saved the first ones from. They were freaking giant pods. I think out of anybody that I saw post the entire season, I had the biggest lemon starburst, at least off my like first wave on the big plant, which is the one that I was talking about with the helmet head, where I had to like go do extreme surgery. Like that plant
Nice.
grew better than the other three that I had. The other three, they stayed small, just didn't do much. That one plant, that was the freaking one.
There you go, Will. Hooked up if you want it.
Oh, he knows. He's just probably trying to give me a hard time.
That's what the live stream's all about. Giving each other a hard time. I gotta look through my seed drawer. I know I've got lemon starburst somewhere.
Well, I can tell
Actually, I
you
think
one
I
of the
might
plants.
actually start one of those like right up, now or next month or something like that. But uh, like Charles was saying, I don't have any intention of starting the rest of my seeds until definitely after New Year's, but maybe even. Whoa, dang dog! Step outside with that the flatulence. Um, She's a man, dog. Holy cow. Um, but no, I might wait until like February, maybe even March before I actually start seeds. I think I started everything February last year, but I think I was a little early. Will says he wants Jay to send him one seed. With my
These aren't even
germination rate,
anything particularly special, but this is off of the nicer plant that I had. And they weren't exactly the pheno like a lot of people got, but they did have nice stingers on them. But a lot of them looked more like that. Whoops.
I
I
just said
lost the
that right
picture.
there.
Okay, there we go. Um, this one over here, that's another good example of how they look. They're more just like UFO looking things, but they're really, really nice looking pods. Those are pretty good sized ones, but those are not near as big as like some of the original ones. And then look at like this one, for example. That was the most exaggerated tail that I got on a lemon starburst this year. I like saved seeds from that one. I named it the dagger tail pheno,
That's a
and I saved seeds from just that one specific pod. And it was off my plant that was pretty much isolated. Uh, and that was the one that I got the coolest phenos off of. There were a lot of the other ones that like Batman's pheno that he was getting like his predominant pheno that had the nice spike on it and stuff, but they were not as big of pods. They weren't quite as flat, and they weren't as big around, but they were a little taller and had more of a pronounced spike on the end. The ones that I was getting from that particular plant were bigger, wider, flatter pods, and I like the particular pheno that I got off of those. Even the ones that didn't have tails. These are the ones though that I probably liked the best out of any of them. And these were the ones I classified as like perfect pheno. They had like a cute little like curved stinger off the bottom, but they were big, broad, wide, flat UFO looking things. That
cute
was
little
the
nubby
coolest one.
tails.
Yeah, that was the coolest one of any of them that I got. Here's just some of like the bigger UFO looking ones, but those are big pods right there. That was like when I was getting big ones from that plant. And these are all from the same plant. The ones I'm showing. It was just that one particular plant had like really, really awesome, awesome phenos the whole time.
Nice.
I
And
think I have a picture of yeah, this is like the first one that I got that I considered perfect. Like at least from what I had seen in King's videos and stuff early on, that was like the perfect pheno. It had that perfect like top and bottom with that big broad UFO looking thing, and then that nice little like curved stinger at the bottom. It had like a very balanced shape, and not only that, but it was like a good like big fat pod. I mean, you can see like I've got my whole hand in that picture. It was like a big, broad pod.
that's a big fat thing, man. Will, I am in the Outer Banks.
There's some other ones, those big giants. And these are the seeds that I'm handing out. Anybody that hits me up wanting King Star Lemon Starburst uh, contest seeds, they're seeds that are coming from these pods. These are the ones that I save seeds from. So anybody out there watching that is in need, these were the first two like perfect ones that I got. And look, those two pods fill out like I've got a big hand, and those two pods fill out bigger than my hand. The pods are overlapping and going past like the width of my hand. And here's a picture of those, which one of them has the cute little curved stinger, and the other one just has a nice like point hanging down. That one had a really nice like UFO shape with like a nice top and then a really broad rim, and the underside kind of was hidden. Yeah, here's a picture of that pod on the plant. And then these are the first two that I this year from my contest plant. And they were monsters. Like, again, my hand is huge. And then look at those things. Those things, one single pepper almost side to side fills out my hand. And my hand is big. So those are like really, really big pods.
And what's up, Lisa? Didn't know you were still here.
I think chicken needs some Starburst seeds. Lisa, you should hit me up on Hangouts. Even if you don't want to be a part of the contest, you're always around and you're a welcome member. And you should definitely hit me up and grow some of those out. They're beautiful peppers and they have a decent heat, but they aren't like excessively hot. I don't know if you've had any different Scotch bonnet varieties, but they're kind of on the low end for a Scotch bonnet variety. They do have a decent heat, but it's nothing crazy. It's like low end habanero Scotch bonnet type level heat. Really, really awesome flavor. And they're really prolific plants, get really big, really beautiful pods, and that bright lemon yellow color that they ripen to is just awesome. And me and Charles actually timed it earlier this year at one point because I had told him, I was like, I swear I go out and I'll pick my plants in the morning, and then in the evening I go out and I look at my plants and there's lemon starbursts that are fully ripe that weren't ripe before. And he timed a single pod, just only one pod, so it's not like a whole lot of statistics to go by. But he did one pod, and from like 8 or 9 in the morning till like 3 or 4 in the evening, and he had taken a picture of it in the morning where it had partial color, and then in like the afternoon it was almost entirely ripe. So it's about like 8 to 10 hours for most of those lemon starbursts from the time that they start showing color till they're fully ripe. When it gets into the cooler months, it kind of takes more time and they get slower. Like I've got a couple on my plants that have been halfway ripe for a week and they aren't doing anything. But that's because it's not warm enough and there isn't enough daylight for them to ripen quick enough. But when it's in that good peak season, you go out in the morning, they've got a little bit of color. You go back in the evening, they're fully ripe. It's astonishing how quick those things ripen. And they have really awesome flavor too. They're great for just chopping up to use like fresh, like minced up in food. They're really good dried for like powder. And I think next year I'm going to play around with pickling some of them and see how they are pickled. Scott, if you want some lemon starburst seeds, you already are in contact with me on Hangouts. Just message me I don't care about what the imaginary lines food laws are. I sent beef jerky, or not beef jerky, deer jerky to multiple Canadians, which you kind of caught that at the tail end, and I would have loved to have shared it with you, but I just didn't have it at that point. But I sent that across the border. And if that made it in an envelope, too, just nothing more than stamps. But I've also sent pepper powder and seeds to JT Bear, Susie, Alex, Bernie Phantom, all kinds of
But
Canadians all over. I've even sent it as high up as like Prince Rupert, which is like that's way up there, towards the west coast, I believe, like northwest is where Prince Rupert is. I've sent it all over Canada, no problem. Just put it in an envelope, put 3 stamps on it, send it, and it makes it. I can put some pepper powder in there for you. Hit me up, Scott. I'll get you
man,
some
that's
lemon
what
Starbucks
Winnipeg,
seeds.
Manitoba. Where's Bernie at? Manitoba, isn't it? Or no, Winnipeg's in Manitoba. Alberta, isn't Bernie in Alberta too?
Yeah, and Scott, I will definitely include you on that Bambi challenge whenever it comes back around. I've been talking to my buddy recently, but it's very much in the middle of rut for deer season. It's like the heat of deer season right now, so
Yeah.
he doesn't answer my calls. He doesn't return my calls. He doesn't message me. I like go knock on his door. There's nobody there. Like I just
Just
hope
like a
he's
buck.
okay. Like I've it's not that drastic, but it pretty much is. I've been trying to like get in touch with him for a while. The only time I can catch him is about like 10:30 at night if I call him, because even if he got a deer that day, he might be done like dealing with it by that point. But it's like not quite late enough for him to go to bed, but it's late enough that there's no way he's in a deer stand anymore. But anytime in the morning, I can't call him. Anytime in the evening, I can't call him. Anytime during the day, he's working. Like, I mean, he could like have to be at work at like 6 a.m. and he'll be like out there hunting at like 3 a.m. and then go to work, and then he like gets off at like 4 a.m. and like goes and gets in a tree and like hunts until like after dark. I'm like, dude, come on.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of his
And
videos pop up on my feed. I think it was what was the last one I saw? Like something about like a
my
funky buck or whatever.
my buddy Catman,
But yeah, that's the same as my dad, man. Same thing. I talked to him.
Rev, were you talking about my buddy Catman?
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't been keeping up with his videos, and it's funny because I'm like best friends with him and have been forever, but like I don't ever keep up with his YouTube.
I didn't watch the video, but I saw it come through and I was like, "Funky buck, that looks cool." And I forget what it was, but I looked at the number of views that he had, and it was only like the video was out for an hour, and I was like, "Good, nice on you, man! Like that's a nice amount of views on that video, like within 1
Well,
hour."
he's got like 18 or 19,000 subscribers on YouTube. His YouTube channel is pretty big, and the thing is, he hasn't ever tried to like push it towards being a YouTube channel. He's not like going out and like trying to like befriend people and do sub for sub stuff or anything. Like he's just putting his videos out there. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. And that's what he's been doing since he was like 14 years old. Like I met him when he was young, and he like had a YouTube even way back then. And he's like a couple of years younger than me, but he's a good dude. And that's like one of my best friends. And that's where one of my pepper gardens was this year. Um, I always grow over at his place. He like rents at this farm, and we get to grow out there. But yeah, he's got awesome videos. I mean, if you ever do watch his videos, like his videos are cool. He doesn't just like put together like hours worth of garbage footage of just sitting in a tree looking at nothing. And he does put
That's
out
how I
videos that
started.
even if he doesn't have like let's say he goes hunting and he doesn't get anything, he might post a really cool video of like some like rare owl variety or something that he sees like that perches in a tree like near him or something. He'll take 2 minute clip of like other cool wildlife that he sees. Like he's not out there just like slaughtering animals. He's like really taking it more to like respectable level of observing nature. And a lot of times when he goes out there, and anybody that really truly is into hunting and really truly does it the right way, they go out there and they have opportunities where they could pull like draw on something, but they don't. They just sit and they just observe it. And that's what I like about like how he does his stuff. He doesn't just go shooting anything that walks. He like sits and he watches everything, and he passes up opportunities sometimes doing that, but that's just the way he does. And he doesn't ever take more than he needs. He takes like, that's why he's more selective during his season, because he only takes what he feels he needs for a season. And then like me and my mom like are always like could always use some meat. Like meat's expensive, and just it helps us out. So in the wintertime, a lot of times he'll like bring us some meat, like when he gets deer. And he has mentioned that to me recently, and I'm like, yeah, like anytime, like I'll never turn that down. So he does like donate stuff to us, but he also does that for other people. And then there's like a organization in Tennessee, which I think is probably nationwide, but it's called Hunters for the Hungry.
Yep.
And
Yeah, it's
he
nationwide.
just yeah, he just, if he goes out and he's hunting, like let's say, or something, and he's hunting and he gets something and he doesn't have time to deal with it that day or whatever, he calls Hunters for the Hungry and takes it to the nearest place that he can take it to, and drops it off to where it can be processed and packaged and given to somebody that needs it. And that's really
Yep.
cool. That's something that not a lot of people do. And especially when you think about there's so many people out there that are poaching and stuff, and he's like so far away from that. I know some people are still even against hunting itself and say it's not humane, it's what blah blah blah. But there's so many people out there that are poaching and doing awful things. And then seeing somebody like my buddy that he only takes what he needs. He pays his money every year and does everything like by law. And not only that, but I would say every season he probably feeds like 50 families off the different deer that he donates throughout a season. He doesn't go and kill that many, but even one deer, I would say, probably feed 10 families, like be spread it out like that far, like once it's processed and handed out. So he probably donates at least 5 a year. So I would say maybe 50 families he like helps. My family being included is one of those, because he does help me out and me and my mom. And I mean, it's a really nice thing that he does.
Yeah. Later, Scott. Later, Will. What's up? Yes. No, it's the exact same thing. I started off with YouTube. I was going hunting all the time, and I'm like, I see all kind of stuff in the woods, and I'm just gonna take my camera with me. And actually, I quit shoot. Like, I was never a let's shoot everything I can see kind of thing guy, but I switched from let's try to get something to let's try to get something on camera, and that became my main thing. And I don't know, there was probably like 5 years that I would have a hunting license that I never shot a thing. I would just go with my camera and I'm like, look, there's a doe. And I'd sit there and just watch a doe on my camera for like an hour. Like, oh, look, there, like I got a video on my channel. I don't know, it's probably 8 years old or something. Here's a raccoon that climbed a tree right next to me while I'm sitting in a tree waiting for deer. And just dumb things like that. Like, oh, look at that. There's, a coyote. There's a fox. There's a vulture. There's a, whatever. But
Yep.
yeah. Well, I got one of my favorite videos that I shot, which I don't even think it has like 30 views on my channel, was I think it was like 9 years ago. I have a video of a bunch of young bucks coming out in the field. It was raining that day. It was kind of like a really crappy day. I think it was the day we got back from Colorado, and me and my dad went hunting in west of here, like an hour. And I just set up the camera and started filming. And there's like 4 points, 5 points, 6 point bucks all coming out in the field and fighting each other. And it was just so cool. They're just sitting there fighting, like not even over a doe or anything. They were just fighting each other just for practice.
Yeah.
And I put that thing up. It's probably like a 20-minute video. And like I said, it's only got like maybe 30 views, but that's
Dude,
one of my
send
absolute
me a
videos.
link to that. I would love to see that. I would actually, I would probably even share that with my buddy Catman. He like, cause he's so into that stuff. He would definitely watch it, but I would like to watch it.
If I can
And I can
find it.
still see the tip of that elk rack over there to your side too. I was the first person to ever comment or notice that. Like you used to have the camera a little more angled over there. Hadn't been for like pointed towards that, but it used to show that rack. And I asked you about that. I was, I think, probably the only person that ever mentioned that. But I saw it and I was like, "So is that yours? Like, you get that?"
Yep.
And you told me like the story about it and stuff, and the dull pocket knife and everything.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
There. That's in the live stream chat. That's the video of the young bucks fighting. And apparently I put it out in 2012, but I'm pretty sure that's a video from like 2009.
Probably gonna pop up with noise. Hopefully not. No noise.
It's pretty quiet. It's the middle of the woods.
No, I just meant like my. I thought my volume would be up on this other phone, but luckily I turned it down earlier. I usually try and prep myself, even if I think I'm not going to use a device to look. I go into YouTube and I turn down the volume just in case, because then instances like this, I like have something else. I like end up popping up the chat, and I'm like, all of a sudden there's noise blaring from it. Yeah, it says '09, season '09 in the
Yeah.
description.
Oh, that's right. That makes a lot of sense. I saved up a lot of film and I didn't actually upload them until like pretty much when this one was uploaded, January 29th, 12. Oh yeah, last day of muzzleloader season '09, which that was the year. Yeah, that was the year I got this elk.
I've never seen a young group like that, but what they call that is they call that a bachelor group
Yep.
when it's a bunch of bucks. But typically that when you see that, like that's kind of odd to see it at that time, like in muzzleloader season, which I guess muzzleloader season is still early season. But when you see like the bachelor groups like that, that's more like a mid to late summer thing. That's not like transitioning into when it would be like at that muzzleloader season time. And I saw what I was going to say because I didn't know, and then looking at those are like young
Yeah.
deer. Uh, but I saw a bachelor group. I think it was maybe 3 years ago, probably. I was fishing the stretch of the river about a mile and a half up the street from me, but it's a pretty secluded area, and from like you have to wait. I guess it's probably more about 3-4 miles from here where I saw them, because it's about a mile and a half mile up the road. Yeah, probably a mile and a half from here to where you park. Then you have to wade upstream probably a good mile and a half to get to the particular spot in the river where I was at. But because you have to wait a mile and a half up from the road, it goes like where the road goes this way, the river goes this way, and then way over to the sides there's roads. So it's like a kind of in this big bubble, like where there's roads around it, but like the river goes through the center. And when you get really far upstream, you're like a mile and a half, 2 miles from anything. You're just in nature. And it's on one of the probably the best areas for deer in my area that I've ever seen. There's this one area where anybody that's ever been on like a cattle ranch, and you know like how cow trails are,
Yep.
there's this one area along this river where the deer have rutted it in to the point where it is literally like cow trails. And there, I mean, there's just thousands upon thousands of deer prints. It's not even like flat ground. It's all just entirely deer prints the entire way. And it's like a good, like, probably like this wide strip that kind of meanders through everything all along the river. I mean, you can walk through it without having to duck or dip at all. Like deer trails typically are kind of hard to maneuver. This is like a freaking cow trail though. It's just wide open. And in that area, I saw a couple of years, 2, 3 years ago, I was fishing and I went upstream and I got to this one spot. I was probably like, I was looking upstream. The sun was back behind. It was getting lower in the sky. It wasn't setting, but it was getting lower in the side to where it was kind of casting a silhouette towards me. Like the sun was in front of me. So anything between me and the sun kind of cast a silhouette. And I saw a group of bucks, like one of those bachelor groups like that came through. And it was probably 8 to 12 of them. And every single one of those was like probably a 8, 10 point plus. Like big bucks. This was like more, I guess I would say probably around September or October. And it was probably September because it was still summertime. It was pre-fall, but it was after they had shed their velvet. It was like late summer, I guess. And they were just these big, huge racks on these big, huge bucks. And it was nothing but bucks. And I saw probably a dozen of them cross the river in front of me at this like shallow spot. I was waiting upstream. And then the first one came and he kind of looked and he turned down and looked towards me. And then he looked back and he just went across. And then I saw like 3 more come. And I was like, dang, there's 4 big bucks like all at once. And then it was just like a rush of them after that. I was like, holy crap. I've never seen so many big bucks in my life. That was the most like epic experience of like deer watching I've ever seen.
And that's like when they're in their bachelor moment where they all are hanging together pre-rut.
Yeah, and there's no does. You won't ever see them with a doe. It's just like, and they're called like bachelor groups is like what the like term for it is, and it's just only bucks.
Yeah, because once the rut hits, they do not hang together whatsoever. They are each man for himself, going out trying to find a doe. But prior to that, nope, they all hang together, and you'll see them all grouped together and stuff like that, especially like late summer, like you were saying.
Yeah, like right around September, and then October is when it starts transitioning into the rut, and then like by now, like this is when the rut's happening. Like November, early November, that's when it's rut. They're being angry, and anybody that was ever hanging together isn't hanging together anymore, and if they are, they're freaking fighting each other.
Yep, and I think the way
And they'll be lone bucks. They're just kind of cruising through the woods, and they just follow the scent of those does. They're just after those does, and And I've seen so many times. I'm not a hunter. I just observe this because I spend so much time out and stuff. So I get to like observe it. And I see like a lot of times this time of year, I'll see a doe come through, sometimes casually, sometimes kind of coming through fast. And then a lot of times, not every time, but a lot of times, 5 minutes, maybe less than 5 minutes, maybe more around 10 minutes later, I'll see a buck come cruising through the exact same area that that doe came through. And it
Yep.
seems like when they come through more panicked, that might be like maybe 5 minutes or less. I'll see a buck come in. But if they come through more casually, it might be, like 10, 15 minutes later. Then I'll see a buck come cruising through that same area. Not every time, but I do regularly see that. And that's when they're following. And that's why it's called the rut, because they're like all on the run. And all those bachelor groups have split up, and all the doe have split up, but they still kind of stay grouped up. The does will run in, like groups of three. And at certain times in the day, everything might group together more, but uh, they kind of stay to their own groups, and then those bucks are out like chasing them,
Oh yeah.
and they're competitive amongst themselves to where you won't see like multiple bucks chasing a group of does, because they've already like fought over that. Like those bucks will duel it out, and they take dominance over like, nah, these are my bitches, and that's just the way that they go.
Yep. And that's where the real fighting comes in, because they actually fight. They'll fight to the death, really.
Yeah,
Usually it's not. Usually it is like the loser will be like, "All right, heck with that, I'm out of here," and just takes off. But every once in a while, you get two that are pretty much like close to each other, competition wise, and they will go to the death.
I've seen multiple videos where there's like big, like 10 plus point bucks that are locked together,
Yep.
like stuck, antlers stuck. And there's one particular video that I remember that I've seen where one of the bucks, they literally they fought to the death, and the one, it didn't survive. And then this other one was alive, but it was still, the antlers were locked, and it
Yep.
was still dragging around the other dead one. And
Yep.
they had to come in there, and some guy was brave enough to go in there and use like a sawzall and sawed the antler of the one that it was caught with, and was able to get it free. And the other buck ended up running off
I've heard
very slowly and clumsily, because it had been probably caught together with that deer for 2 days. But
yeah, and it couldn't. It was like really tired and couldn't run
yeah,
off, and yeah, that's how you can get right up on it and try to help it. I've
I've
heard.
seen more than one video like that though, where they're like locked up, and then somebody will like come and free them.
Yeah, I've seen, well, I've heard so many stories and videos and stuff like that from people that I know that have done that, where they're like, I was out hunting and like here comes a deer with like a withered deer carcass hanging from another deer's antler, where, they were fighting and the one lost and it died and it just kept withering away and the other one couldn't eat, so it was starting to die off too, and either they shot it or they separated the two bucks, or I don't know. There's always been a bunch of different stories, but yep, that's the I mean, talk crap about hunting all you want, but you get to see a lot of weird stuff out there in nature.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm like I've always said, I'm not a big fan of deer meat, so that's kind of why I stopped hunting deer, but I never stopped going out and filming them. I love doing that, just hanging off a tree, sitting there with your camera, see what you can see. All right, well, dang, it is pretty late.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and cancel the live stream.
Later, everybody. Later, Lisa. Later, JDS. I guess you're pretty much the only active people out there. I know there's other people watching. So later, everybody.
That's all right. They can hang out with us next time. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, guys, and I will be back. I don't know. Maybe I'll be back tomorrow. Never know. But I'll be back again sometime. So if you're not, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that bell. That way you get notifications for whenever we actually go live. I don't know. Anything you got to say, Rob? I'll let you close it out.
Lisa, hit me up on Hangouts. I'm sure you know how to find me. I'll definitely send you some Starburst seeds so you can grow those. As long as you include them in a video, and that would be cool. You'll enjoy them. They're really pretty peppers, and the plant's nice. So
Yeah,
hit me
good.
up. Anybody else out there? I am one of the seed donors for the Lemon Starburst contest this year, and I volunteered myself to be a part of that. I've got a ton of seeds. I just kind of at one point I was deseeding a lot of the pods and saving the seeds, and then at one point I was like, "Why am I doing this?" Because it's such a like something that wasn't available to everybody. But now that since it's a contest and it is available to anybody that wants them, I'm one of the people that came out and said like, "Hey, if you need lemon starburst seeds, hit me up." So anybody out there that is looking for the lemon starburst seeds for the contest, as long as you're an active member of the PLC and you want to be a part of the contest and you're willing to post updates and stuff. I mean, obviously, if you're out there like searching for the lemon starburst seeds and you just see that as an opportunity to get them, you aren't going to get them from me, most likely. But if you're an active member and you want to like be a part of it, then that's cool. So anybody hit me up, I'm willing to share them with whoever. And that's about it. I'm on Google Plus, Pepper Lovers Community, floating around on YouTube. Now it revs back. This is one of my other mainstays, but see me on Charles's channel on Sunday evenings for our talk time with Three Pepper Guys, which BD is on hiatus for a little bit, but he'll be back in another week or two. So that's about it.
Sweet. Yeah. Sure you hit up Charles so you can check him out on Sundays and here on Mondays. And yeah, I don't know. I'm new to getting back to the live stream, so we'll be doing more stuff soon. All right, well, that's it. Thanks for hanging out. We'll do more live streams soon. So we were live. It was awesome. You guys are awesome. And we'll catch y'all in the next live stream. Man, so rusty on canceling out a live stream. Later, everybody.